right, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to the SuperScope podcast, your wrap up in this week's biggest gaming stories. We're back with episode 23 on Sunday, March 6th, 2022. I am your host, of course, Retro Game Dude, and joining me, as always, is Daisuke Aurora of Phoenix Aurora Gaming. Feel free to join the discussion in the chat. In our Discord, the link's right on the Twitch. And if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe if you can. It helps us out a ton. And if you want us to talk about anything, or if there's anything we missed that you really want us to really hit on, let us know in the comments. You can also find the audio version of this podcast on Stitcher, Spotify, and Google Podcasts. I would put it on Apple, but God forbid, it's on there. That's on their end.
Yeah,
So Daisuke, how are you doing this week?
good.
It's been a minute since we've done this.
Yeah, I tentatively have a living computer again, so I'm happy about that.
That's cool.
We're seeing how it goes. It seems like if it was going to die, it would have died by now.
Sure.
But if I vanished from this stream for 5 minutes, that's what happened.
Of course, if you were here last Sunday, you would have seen that we were not doing a podcast, but instead playing Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and Knuckles off of Steam, and it was okay. It's certainly not the best representation of that game. So I'm going to try and do that again at some point, and we're going to do it off of either a third-party emulator or try and get like a Genesis hooked up to my capture card and play it the way it was meant to be played, because I didn't like the way it was emulated, and there's just a lot of glitches, a lot of goofy, weird, stupid things that weren't in the original game. So
Yeah.
yeah, I would say probably if you're looking for an authentic representation of the game, to steer away from the Steam version of it on that Sega collection pack. It's not great. So what did we do last week? We had a good Jackbox last night. Really great energy, really great turnout. Got to meet some new people and definitely had a good time. And we'll of course be back doing that again next Saturday. It's a great community and team building exercise. So hopefully we'll see some mods in the chat again. I think overall it's just a really good night. Really good energy. Everyone really got along, and we got to play a lot of Jackbox games that we haven't played in a while. So it was fun, and we also played some Gartic Phone too. So that was really fun. Unfortunately, we had to wrap up, and we had a couple people join at the last minute that wanted to join in, and hopefully they'll come back next Saturday to play along with us again.
Mhm.
But we are going to be launching some new formats with this podcast at some point. We're just kind of looking into it right now. I think we're going to do like a once a month kind of like a roundtable discussion of gaming, and just shoot the shit with other streamers, have different guests on. So maybe like 5 or 6 different people on, and we can see where that chaos takes us.
Yeah, definitely.
So what else? Been playing Destiny this week. A lot's going on with Destiny, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. And also fixing a lot of controllers. If you tuned in not last week but the week before, you saw we live streamed doing some Joy-Con repairs for the Switch, and then off stream I fixed three PlayStation 4 controllers. So we got those back up running, and they are back in the owner's hands, and they seem to be very happy with the results. So I'm glad everything worked out, and that was a lot of experience under my belt for those PlayStation controllers and getting them fixed up. So good times. We got schedule wise, Destiny Tuesdays, of course. We'll be back playing that. I might hop on tomorrow just because of the big raid that happened last night. I guess changed a couple of things in the game, so I want to definitely go check that out. Go through the raid myself at some point. So our clan, Phoenix Aurora Gaming on Destiny, did the day one raid. I'm not sure if they finished it in contest mode or not at this point. I really haven't been paying attention, but to the guys who toughed it out, man, big ups. So we're proud of you guys for representing us and kicking ass out there. So hopefully you guys got it done, and while contest mode is still active, and will hopefully carry me through it tomorrow. Have you been playing anything new this week?
What did I do this week?
I know you didn't have a working computer, so I'm not expecting a whole lot out of you.
No, yeah, I think I played a little bit of Arceus here and there. Mostly I hopped on to use those 2 codes. I don't know if for those of you who are watching and are players of Arceus, there's 2 codes that give you some items in the game.
It's Arceus
Arceus
Adventure.
Adventure,
Yeah,
and like thanks. Ooh, I'm not sure what the other one was. It's thanks for your help, but I can't remember how they spelled it. It was
like
weird.
THX for.
THX4 Y0UR
I'm sure if you Google it, it'll
HELP.
be easy to find.
I threw them in the chat in case
Thanks
anybody's
for
watching
your
who
help.
wants them.
Nice.
But one of them, the Arceus Adventure, is like 90 different. It's like 30 Ultra Balls, 30 of the Feather Ultra Balls, and 30 of like the heavy ones, the Gigatons.
Hmm.
And then Thanks for Your Help is like 5 rare candies, and some of those pretty high tier rocks that improve stats. Not the top one, but like the 6 to 8 one, I think,
Hmm.
or 6 to 9 one. And then yeah, so I grabbed those. I mean, I started the Daybreak content. I don't know if you've messed around with that yet.
I have not. I haven't gotten to the end yet. Is that content you have to get to the end to play, or?
Probably
Okay.
it's what the mission is like 95, I think, in the side missions, which
Hmm.
is right after like the main game's post game. I'm not sure when it opens up to you because it's in the first area of the game, so it's not like it's way out there.
Hmm.
So it might be open from as soon as you get to that first camp. The not the first camp where you start, but like the one where you get in the middle where you get to ride Roadier and everything, and the balloon guy is.
Yeah.
Um, you talk to a lady out there to start like that, and it unlocks mass outbreaks. I think they're called,
Well, that's cool.
and it's like it's outbreaks except instead of like normally outbreaks are like one Pokemon on the map has an outbreak and it's in one place, and when you find it, there's a bunch of them. The massive mass outbreaks are like 20 locations on the map at once with question marks, and each of them is an outbreak. And if you go to any of those question marks, there's a bunch of that Pokemon there, a bunch of different Pokemon. They're all each question mark's a different Pokemon,
Hmm.
and the outbreaks can contain alphas as well.
That's cool.
So like one was like an outbreak of like Bidoof, and that's all it was. But then one was an outbreak of like I want to say it's either Cascoon or Silicoon.
Okay.
But there was also Beautiflies, and there was an alpha Beautifly just hanging out.
Hmm.
So it's pretty cool. If you're looking for like if you're trying to finish up your Pokedex, there's a lot of good opportunities to get more there, or ones you're missing, or if you want to get certain ones alpha, you can find them alpha. And there was other quests they added too. I did another quest that was in the hundreds that just gave you some stuff. It was quick and easy, but yeah, they added some new mains like some I can't call them main scenario because the main scenario I don't think goes any further than the end of the game, but it's more to do after that that opens up the way that you can play,
Right.
which is cool. And in general, yeah, it was cool to see them add to the game instead of just being like Arceus is out and now it's dead because we announced the next one. Like it's cool that they're actually still doing something with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Definitely. And we'll talk about that later too. That they've been supporting their games for Pokemon Day and stuff too.
sure.
That's one of our big stories for later
Oh
too.
yeah, I did go into Pokemon Go as well because they were doing some stuff. I
Hmm.
forget what I found. I found a couple things. My son found a shiny Zubat today. It was actually
Nice.
really funny.
In Pokemon
He
Go.
was no in Arceus.
Oh, that's cool.
He was doing like the balloon challenge where you ride the deer and you pop balloons, and like he just as he was going, he just rode by a like a green Zubat, and I was like, wait a second, and he's like, how do I get that? And I'm like,
Nice.
well, I don't know. You're on your deer. You have to get off, and he's like. And you have to like quit the mini game, and when you quit the mini game, it puts you back at camp. And he's like, "No, where is it?" So we're like trying to retrace the steps of like the mini game path and find where he
Oh,
went. And then we found it, and it was like there, just still waiting for him. And he's like, oh my god!" And he was
wow.
freaking out. It was
I can't believe it
great.
didn't like derez or like.
That's what I said. I thought it would like
Wow.
it was a separate instance, but it's actually it must the balloon mini game must literally take place in the same exact instance with the same
Holy
Pokemon and everything
shit. Well, even though
because it
like
was still
distance
there.
wise, it's lucky like you didn't go like a certain distance
Can't
away
go far
where he
away.
just dumped it. That's
Yeah,
incredible.
yeah. But so
That's
I was like, dude,
incredible.
that's. I was like, at the moment it was cool for him, but I was like, afterward, I was like, props to them for that being one more thing that they could have
They
been
got right.
shortcuts or cheap about, and they didn't.
Sure. Hell yeah,
So,
man.
but yeah, we can talk about Arceus later or something. I could go off about Arceus doing so much right for the franchise
Yeah.
compared to the old games or whatever.
We talked about Sonic and Knuckles. We played that this week, and
Hmm.
I broke down and got Elden Ring after I said I was like, yeah, it's not my cup of tea. And boy, is
Yeah,
that game fucking hard.
yeah,
Like I don't know if it's like difficult or a lot of it just seems to be like bad hitbox shit. That seems to be like what I'm experiencing, but
yeah.
it's not forgiving. That's for sure.
There's been a lot of discourse about that game online, and a good chunk of it right now is about how like if you're in like hallways or tight spaces, like your sword will hit walls or your weapons will hit walls, and you'll be like
Right.
kind of I can't do attacks.
But
And
enemies
then meanwhile,
won't.
there's like yeah, there's like giant enemies that are like you'll go into a tunnel and you'll walk 10 feet down the tunnel and then get behind the wall, and the dude will be like through ceiling, through wall, hit you directly, and you're like, okay, cool.
Right, right.
That's
So
fair.
yeah, and that's not necessarily difficulty as it is not great programming with like
Bad design.
rigid bodies detection and stuff. So
Right. That's I can speak from a design perspective. There's this thing called and I forget the name of the word. It's I have a whole book about design that we had to read to get my gaming degree, my game design degree. My God, my gaming degree. Could you imagine? Um,
gaming degree.
you have to like follow the train, like
Twitch
CJ follow the
University.
train. Yeah, yeah. No, when we were doing design, one of the things we talked about was and I forget the concept of the word, so I'll have to look it up later to tell you. But it's the idea of like what an object's purpose is. So like if
Mhm.
I handed you like a teapot, you would see like the handle and you'd be like, okay, this is where I hold it. And you'd see like the spout and you'd be like, it makes sense that things will come from here. Like the design informs its purpose, you know what I mean?
Sure.
And it's purposely designed to do that so that you can teach someone who's never used it before how they should be using it. You know, handles on scissors. Even game controllers are designed by default to have like clearly where your hands go and where you should be placing fingers and buttons and things. Like and that is sort of a problem with like Elden Ring does that poorly with things like that, where
Sure.
like if it's one thing if everyone's attacks always go through walls at all times, but it's another thing when the game teaches you in tight corridors that your attacks will recoil off the walls and the floor,
Right.
and then a dude can like cleave you through 10 feet of cement and hit you directly and kill you, and you're like, that doesn't feel like it should be that thing. And it's like, well, no, normally that shouldn't be like that. If you played any other game, like if I was playing Destiny and a dude shot me through any kind of wall, we'd be complaining that it's bullshit.
Right.
If I picked up Final Fantasy, any Final Fantasy ever, and was like getting in encounters through walls, or if like, you picked up Horizon Forbidden West and a dude was axing you through 6 trees or something, you'd be like, what is happening? Um, and unfortunately that's the thing is like Souls dudes tend to be like, well, that's Souls, and it's like, okay, but that's how it is doesn't mean that it's good. Like I hate that, like, well, that's just how it
Right.
is. Like
Yeah, yeah. And I guess there is a level of like that get good attitude I get, but when it
yeah.
starts facing like bad programming, it's not a get good issue. It's the company needs to get good at like
Yeah. Well, that's
designing
why
levels and shit.
I think that's what I told you. Like a lot of people, Elden Ring got hyped up a lot, and a lot of
Mhm.
people who never played these games decided to try them, like you. And a lot of people who have never played them or don't play them often and only really interact with them through like talking to community members and hearing about those games from other people
Mhm.
are starting to realize that yeah, it's not just like oh it's hard and you need to get good. A lot of it is just like well this is how this game's always been. Yeah, sometimes these things aren't fair. Yeah, sometimes these things don't work, and this is just what
Sure.
we want. And it's like okay, but that's
Right.
not good. Like, and then
Right.
you see Elden Ring sitting on 60s and 70s on Metacritic from all the users because the users are the ones that are actually trying it for the first time and being like, this isn't doing it.
Right. And
Um,
I will say it's a beautiful game, and there is like once you get the
oh,
ball rolling,
absolutely,
it's not horrible.
yeah,
And it's doable. So like I got my fucking ass slaughtered by this boss in a cave in like the beginning of the game,
right,
and I was like, I'm never gonna get a high enough level to even beat this guy because he got in there and he killed me before I could even react.
sure,
But like the leveling, as much as incremental as it looks, it actually is significant. Because I've gone back to those parts, and it's like I'm only a couple levels higher, but it's like bam, and
makes a difference.
yeah, it
Oh
makes a
yeah,
huge difference. So
yep,
it's good to see that it's not like I have to sit here and bust through like 40 levels to even make the game feel
oh
fair.
sure,
So
yeah,
it's yeah, as it being like my first experience with these games, that's the best I can really really say at this point because I'm just not that far in the
oh
game. So it's not a fair criticism, but I mean there is a lot of
sure,
things that are problematic, I would say.
yeah. I have a question for you just for ha-has because another chunk of the big discourse around this game is the very beginning, the tutorial. How'd that go for you? Were you like start off?
Hmm.
How did your beginning go?
Fine.
Did you do the tutorial for combat?
Hmm.
You went down where the ghost told you to go and did that whole section?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, cool, cool. A
Mhm.
lot of people either don't know it's there or they skip it entirely
Yeah.
because either either they're worried that the ghost is fucking with them because that's a common Souls thing. You know, chests or mimics, they kill you.
Hmm.
Dudes bust through walls and kill you. Log traps kill you out of nowhere. So a lot of people thought the ghost saying jump down for knowledge was like, the knowledge is I'm going to die
Because
and
it's
I'll
almost a
learn to
meme.
not listen to them.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. So a lot of people skipped it for that. And then a lot of people just saw a drop off a ledge versus a doorway and said, ledge drop is permanent. I'll go that way last. And then left.
Hmm.
And it's been wild to watch that one too, because a lot of people were like, if your tutorial is skippable, that's fine. But if people who should be doing your tutorial are just accidentally skipping it or purposely skipping it because the reputation of your game makes people think it's not a thing they should do, like something went wrong with your tutorial process. Either you should have locked that door so they had to go down, or only on your first playthrough it's locked, and then any other subsequent playthrough you can skip it,
Hmm.
or something. Like it could have been handled a lot better.
Yeah.
And you get that same thing where it's like this could have been a lot better, and people were like, okay, well then go make your own game, and it's like that's not how that works though. Like you can criticize a thing without
Right.
being your own company, like
I will
so.
say a game where like it's almost like its tagline is "You're going to die a lot." I would say
Sure.
I don't know. I kind of have mixed feelings about it. I would say that maybe there should be maybe more indication to like turn around, but it is a
Right,
meme
yeah, they
in the
could have done
game
more.
to like
Sure.
leave notes around the game and like say jump, and then people will listen to those notes and you just
And
die.
then die. Oh
Right.
yeah,
So
absolutely.
I
And
could
you see a
see
lot of like,
I could definitely see issues there.
yeah, and then the last piece of discourse around the game a lot right now is accessibility options, because
Hmm.
a lot of people talk about wanting an easy mode, which sure it takes more time to make that, but it also doesn't really impact, like if you don't play the easy mode, you'll never notice it's even there. It won't affect your experience. The only downside to it is people who beat the game on easy mode can be like, I beat Elden Ring, and then you have to be like, did you beat it on easy mode? And if they say yes, then you're like, oh well, you know, you're a noob. But it's like,
It's
so
just
what are we
more
doing at that point?
gatekeeping.
You're just, yeah, you're gatekeeping and you're dumping on people for like playing in easy mode. Like who cares? I know, I'm sure you've beaten, you know, like Turtles in Time, and I'm not going to be like, yeah, well, did you beat it? How many quarters did you use when you played at the arcade? Like,
Right.
did you ever beat it without? Did you have to use a continue? Because if you use a continue, then it doesn't count. Like, okay, whatever, dude.
I
Um,
see, and I don't know if it's the Elden Ring community or like the Souls community or if it's like newer players getting into it, but there's so much fucking gatekeeping in this
yes,
community.
yeah,
And I it's like, oh, if you use the lone wolf spell, you're not playing it right, or if you do this, you're
right,
not playing it right. You're using mechanics that are available to you in the game.
yep.
And there's a lot of play people that play it co-op. So
Oh yeah, absolutely.
you're going to sit there and make the argument that not using like the mechanics in the game and then turn around and like co-op the game out. Like, come on. Like,
Well, a
just
lot of
if people want to
yeah,
have, let people fucking have fun with it.
a lot of people because so it feels like what happens a lot with this community is like you'll get people who will defend the game like to the death, and when
Hmm.
they do that kind of thing, it'll be like I had, you know, I'll have a conversation with someone and be like, hey, you know, game looks great, game seems like fun, game sounds like fun, but you know, it would be a cool accessibility option, the ability to change the color of the text, because for a lot of people they can't read that like red text on other stuff,
Fair.
and people are like, nah, fuck that, get good. And it's like, what do you mean get good? We're talking about
It's
like
colorblind.
literal accessibility options. Yeah, like you know, it's a cool idea. Like you know, how sometimes enemies make sounds around you. Like in Bloodborne, for example, you'll turn a corner and a dude will just attack you,
Hmm.
and the only indication you have that it's coming is the sound of him around the corner. Like he makes some noise sometimes, and maybe you catch the noise. Or maybe right as you come up to him, you hear him roar in your side, and you like spin to try and fight him. Like maybe for deaf people, you just have like an option to turn on something that makes like a damage style indicator, like in Destiny. You know, when you're getting damage from like behind or aside,
Yeah.
you do that for the audio, so like people would know a triangle lit up on my right side. I can't hear that dude, but I know that there's a dude to my right, and I can turn and look at him.
Hmm.
And it's optional. It doesn't even turn on unless you go in the options and turn it on yourself. And people were like, "Nah, get good." And it's like you want deaf people to get good their hearing
They're
back.
right.
Like,
They're at a
okay, yeah,
disadvantage.
yeah,
If
yeah.
all that is asking to level the playing field a little bit compared to
Right.
people, it's like
And so it just sucks because anytime someone's like, hey, you know what? Whether you think the tutorial is cool or not, the fact that half the players are missing it indicates a problem. It doesn't
sure.
indicate a solution, but it does indicate a problem. And people were like, nah, they need to get good. And it's like, okay, accessibility options. Nope, not our problem.
Yeah.
Dudes cleaving you through entire buildings. No, that's the game. And it's like, okay, like I kind of want to produce a game now and just have it be horribly disconnected from like real physics, and people were like, "This sucks." I'm just like, "That's the experience I want people to have. If you don't like it, go
Right.
play something else, and then watch how fast my game dies." Right?
Right.
Like,
At that point, then you're putting yourself in the same tier as like Goat Simulator.
right?
Like,
Like, yeah, this is the I made it the way I wanted it. If you don't like it, too bad. And it's like, yeah, there's you can make it however you want, but you can't be surprised if a whole bunch of people running around saying get good to every kind of complaint or criticism, even if it's valid, is going to cause people to just put it back down. And like I said, we've had the critics all gave the game 9 out of 9, 10 out of 10, perfect scores,
mhm.
high scores, high scores, high scores. And then now you've got 4 or 5,000 users on PlayStation and a few thousand on Xbox giving reviews on Metacritic and giving it like 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10 and saying, I get it, it's cool, it's just not for me.
Mhm.
And that's fine. And then people were in there being like, "Yeah, you probably just never played a Souls game. You probably suck. Like, get good." And it's like, "Oh, okay, cool." Like,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's insane.
it's some kind of perceived bragging right to tell people to get good on the game, and half of those people are probably not even Souls players either. They're probably just fucking
Oh,
trolls.
dude, there's people in there. I see people in there all the time that'll be like, someone will be like, "Hey, it would be a good idea if you made it so that you have like a hot bar on the bottom with like some numbered keys or with like button commands, so that you could switch easily between your spells or your
Yeah, I
equipment."
don't like that
Because
UI. That's kind of
the
like
UI is not.
my one gripe.
Yeah, the UI is definitely not
It's like the
good.
item
I mean,
selection.
a lot of people like the UI for the Souls games has always been like weird old Microsoft Windows UI. It's
100%.
weird. It's very weird.
100%.
And they never change it either. Like I played Bloodborne and I'm like, dude, Bloodborne was mind blowing because it's such a good game in most aspects,
Hmm.
but then some aspects are just really bad and really janky. And when you ask people like why is it bad and janky, they're just like, it's always been like this. And you're like, okay, but like when you pick up an item in Bloodborne, it tells you picked up the item, and then you have to push the button again to make the I picked up this item message go away.
Hmm.
So like it literally like you pick up an item and it does like on the bottom of your screen it's like you picked up this item, press X to dismiss, and then you can like get in a fight and be attacking enemies and doing things, and you still have the text on your screen that says you picked up a potion, and you're like,
Yes.
can I not? Like, why is this here? And they're like, you have to press X to get rid of it. And I'm like, why is that a thing in like 2020 or whatever? And they're like,
That
well,
is an issue that I had with
it's
the game.
always been like that. And I'm like, okay, but you changed that though. Like that's the easiest thing to change. Like,
Right. Like sometimes things are just paradigms because they're paradigms and they don't necessarily
mm-hmm.
detract or add to the game. I would say
Sure.
that I had that exact same gripe today because I was like, this thing's like blocking half my fucking screen. I'm in the middle of a fight.
Yeah.
And
Get good, man.
that's not a
Like
difficulty thing.
it just
That's a
if
user interface, user experience issue. It's
hey man, if the UI blocking half your screen during combat is a problem, that's a you problem, man. You just need to adapt to not having that on your. I don't know.
Yep.
Overcome, adapt. It's like that meme with the dude like the drink your own piss dude, and he's like adapt, overcome.
Drink your own piss.
Oh no.
Oh my god, dude.
But that's my take. If people are playing Elden Ring, great. If they're enjoying it, even better. But if you ask me as a game developer to comment on a game, I will criticize what needs criticizing. I will talk about a game like Horizon Zero Dawn if it's got littered with quest markers and too much text. I will talk about weapons breaking in Breath of the Wild being a bad thing, even though that game is fantastic. That is an inherently bad thing that players don't like. I will talk about Elden Ring's UI being from 1980. Like, I'm sorry.
Yeah, and full disclosure, I am having a good time with the game.
Yeah,
and I don't.
I bet
think
almost
the
everybody
issues,
is to some extent.
Yeah, and I don't think the issues we're talking about are like
Don't buy the game issues. Yeah,
right.
absolutely.
100%
No, absolutely
still
not.
go out and get this game.
Definitely
and
still play
experience it. And if you're looking for a game that's going to be a challenge, hell yeah, get this. So I mean,
Absolutely.
that's kind of where I'm at with it. But
I would just tell people not take it personally if a bunch of Souls dudes come after you on Twitter and say that you're not good for saying you didn't like part of it or something.
right.
Like, just ignore that entirely. Like, and I don't want to say I would be like those aren't the community, but I think that is kind of the community. But
Oh yeah.
that's you don't have to deal with that from people. If people are giving you a hard time, if you're like, listen, this boss isn't fair that he hits me through a wall, that's a valid complaint. If anyone else is like, oh well, it's always been like that, good, mute that person. Just mute that person.
Right.
Move on.
Yeah, I'm sure they're going to have a slew of invalid opinions. Even the guy the other night that we saw who was criticizing Elden Ring, saying, "Oh, I don't think people generally care about this," and I'm like, "Whew." That's a take and a half. It being
Right.
the most trending topic on Twitter for like almost a week and a half straight.
Absolutely,
Generally, no one
absolutely.
cares about it. And then we would go to search his history, and he's talking about how the country of
Georgia.
Georgia trying to join the EU, and he's like, "How does a state even do this?"
Yep.
And we're like, "Whoa!"
Incredible.
Like you know that
Incredible.
there's a country Georgia too, right? Yeah, it was pretty mind blowing.
I would like to ask that guy what he thinks the Florida Georgia line is in regards to like Russian border. Like,
Yeah,
oh
it's
man.
pretty goddamn wild. So, well, let's move
Yeah.
on. Quick rundown of social media accounts. On Twitter and Instagram, I am Game Dude Retro. On Twitch and TikTok, Retro Game Dude. So feel free to follow. It always helps, and I always post content on Twitter. I've been posting a lot more lately, so it's fun.
Man, I was gonna say two things. One, we got sidetracked kind of early, huh?
That's all right.
Usually we have to get to a topic before that happens. No, I will say that do not go look at Retro Game Dude's Twitter because it's just full of some weird propaganda about trying to make some dude play Chrono
Oh,
Trigger.
you know what? I completely forgot about doing it too for the last couple of days.
Yes, you have to start at one. You can't say like
No,
day 5 or day 6 or whatever. You lost it.
no
It
way.
has to be day 1 again.
Nope.
Dude, I was mad because the first day you did that, a bunch of people liked it, and I was like, "Who are all you people?"
No.
I was
Oh,
like,
I thought they
"Who
were
are
your
these
friends.
people?" No, I
They
have
just
no
came out of
idea.
the
They were
fucking
just
woodwork.
they were
I
just people
love
that showed
social
up to be
media.
like, "Yeah, it was great." I went and looked at it, and it had like 6 likes, and I'm like, "Who
Yeah.
are you people?
That's wild. It's people that,
How dare they?"
and then like for the next like 5 posts, fucking crickets. It's
Oh yeah,
I just
yeah,
love how
right.
0 cents social media algorithms make.
Dude, I feel like a lot of social media algorithms is like weirdly time based. Like if you
Hmm.
post at the exact minute and hour that you should, you'll get like a wash, and then if you do it like an hour off, you'll get nothing because people are going to work, coming from work, doing like you must hit like
Yep.
that first one must have hit a perfect window where like everybody was there to interact or something.
Right. Well, that's one thing I learned when I ran a Facebook page for a local website here. It was like a satire page for Lancaster.
Mm-hmm.
Never post before like 9 o'clock
Yeah.
because people are getting ready for work, and most people, as soon as they get to their desk, they open their phone up and start fucking off. So we would
Yep.
post at like 9:15, 9:30, and sure enough, like we saw um major increases in viewership and interactions because of that. So yeah,
Yeah.
you have to do like you have to do it at certain times a day, like between 11:30 and like 1 o'clock is a hot spot too, because that's when people take their lunches, of course, and
Mm-hmm.
and then like I think a little bit before people like a little bit before 5 o'clock, and then like I think like 7 or 8 I think is another hot spot.
That's like
That was like Facebook in a nutshell for posting.
yeah. That's like one thing that kills me here is like even doing my streams, like my best time to stream is at night when the kids go to bed because the wife's in bed, the kids are in bed, and I don't have to worry about real life obligations pulling me away from a stream or disrupting it for the people watching.
Hmm.
And it's like the worst time for me to stream. If I actually look at like
Right,
metrics, the best time to stream is like
it's like noon.
lunchtime for
Right,
me, and then like lunchtime through like dinner time, and I'm like, that's awesome, but that's literally the time I can't do that. Like,
that's when I'm at fucking work. It's like
yeah.
so that's one of
Well,
those things where it's
I'm
like
obviously home with the kids, but like
mhm.
my day is mostly like do stuff around the house, do stuff with the kids, school stuff with the kids, games with the kids, take the kids out of the house, clean the house, like
You know
do
what
my
you
own
do?
schoolwork sometimes. I'd have to basically restructure my day so like I don't even know if I could really. It's weird.
Do a stream with your kids between like 12 and 1 or right after lunch, and that's
Yeah.
there it is, man. That's a hot thing, especially on YouTube. I see a lot of successful streamers and like doing like a parent child duo thing.
Yeah. Well, that's it. We're moving to our
Yep.
Phoenix Roar Gaming has officially hit the child labor stage. No, I'm just kidding.
Nice. Hey, take advantage of it while it's free.
Oh boy.
Oh man.
All right, what do we got?
So
What's on
we
the agenda
have
today?
obviously it's the top of the month, so we get to talk about all the subscriber games. So we've got new games dumping out on PlayStation Network, Games of the Gold, and Game Pass. We're going to start this month with PlayStation Network stuff here. So right now, we're seeing Ghost Runner. We have Ark, and we have Sonic. Was it Sonic Team Racing and Legends? Ghost of Tsushima Legends. So obviously, this is a significantly better offering than last month, which was
Mhm.
like 2 games and a DLC for a 10-year-old game. So
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
so a lot less confusing here. But yeah, Ghost Runner I hear is very good, so I definitely want to check that out. Ark is Ark. Sonic Team Racing, that's a a crowd pleaser, and then of course Ghost of Tsushima Legends. That's a solid grab too. I believe that's the multiplayer experience of the game, not
Yeah, I think
necessarily
so.
the not the campaign, or is it?
Yeah,
I forget how that works because I haven't played the game myself. So
yeah, I haven't either. But if I remember correctly, I think Dark mentioned Legends is like, I think Legends is like that 4-player raid thing they
hmm
did, right?
maybe
Um, um, I will get back to you on that. I will look it up real quick because I know he mentioned there was like a raid style thing, and
yeah,
he
they
was
added a
surprised with
raid.
how good it was
hmm
actually.
They added a raid like
Um,
a couple months after it came out. I don't know if that's it or not. So if anyone in the chat knows, let me know.
Apparently, looking up, my phone decided to call it Goats of Tsushima, and I'm not happy about what I'm
Nice.
finding.
That's oh god. Is it Goat Simulator DLC?
I didn't even look at the results. I was just like, that's not what I
I
meant.
wouldn't.
Um, could you imagine? It's like
It's like
it's
the
a co-op multiplayer mode. Yep, it is a co-op multiplayer mode. It is players choose from 4 classes.
so you get pre-built
It's
characters.
usually $20 retail, so obviously,
Okay.
this
Hey,
sounds about right.
you know what they
Um,
say, $20 is $20.
it contains 9 story chapters and one 3-part raid. Yes.
That's cool.
So having all that be for free is pretty damn good.
Yeah, that's a good chunk of the game there. But yeah, Ghost Runner, that was free a couple months ago on Prime Gaming, and I didn't get a chance to play that yet, but I did grab it.
Yep.
But yeah, that's a game that's kind of been on my radar too. I want to check that out too. What else we got? Games with Gold. Whoo boy. So we have the Flame of in the Flood, Street Power Soccer, Sacred 2 Fallen Angel, and SpongeBob's Truth or Dare. I think it's pretty evident that Microsoft's kind of checked out on games with gold at this point. Because at this point,
Yeah.
this is not even at the $5 Walmart bin tier. This is
I was
like
just gonna say, dude, if I had a dollar for every time Sacred 2 got traded in a stack of 80 games at GameStop with like
mhm,
a dusty Xbox 360, like,
right, and
oh man,
I'm thinking that that's probably like the best offering
out of
here.
the 4 of them, yeah.
So
Well, I can't speak to the name Flame in the Flood sounds familiar. I thought
mhm.
that was like, wasn't that like an indie title that did pretty well
It
actually?
looks like an indie title from what I can see. I didn't really dig into it too much.
Yeah, not
Um,
ringing a bell. I don't know, like the name sounds familiar, but I can't remember what it would have been. You know what
mhm.
I might be confusing it with? I think I'm confusing it with that. Remember that Tower Watch game where like you were looking for fires in like a forest or something? That
Kind
was
of.
really popular indie game.
hmm
I think I was confusing it with that. Is
Okay.
what it is.
Yeah, so they're saying this is $89.96 worth of games here.
Oh
I'm
boy,
going to
I mean,
challenge that all day. So, yeah. It is what it is. Like I said, obviously, and they're checked out with games with gold, and their focus is Game Pass, and obviously, it's slim pickings to usher people into their Game Pass offering here. Do I have a bug in here already? I opened the window for like 5 seconds.
boy.
Anyway, oh yeah, it's a gnat. It's like a little stupid little thing flying in my camera.
Dude, you can get Sacred 2, the gold edition, on Steam for like 350.
350. Interesting. So let's do an experiment real quick. What are the other those other games if they are available on Steam? How much are they going for?
Let me see. What was it? Fire in the Flood?
Yeah, if that's
Fire in the Flood game, because apparently there's a song called Fire and the Flood.
yeah, you gotta have
Fire
it.
in the Flood game. Store Steam powered. Steam's got it at 14.99. What's it on Xbox's site? They say it's 20
nineteen
bucks.
ninety nine. So
Okay, so it's
it's
not a
still a
big
little
jump.
inflated.
Yeah, yeah, still inflated, not a big jump. What else do we have?
Oops, what's going on here?
What's that $30 game?
SpongeBob, the $30 game. That
This
is Street Power Soccer. I don't know if that one's even going to be on Steam.
Street Power Soccer. It's on Steam. It says it's 30 bucks on Steam.
Wow.
That's impressive.
So okay,
Can
SpongeBob's
improve.
Truth or Square.
Oh, hang on. Before I move away from this,
Mm,
you can get Street Power Soccer on disc at Walmart for 18 bucks and at Best Buy for 19 bucks and at GameStop used for 18 bucks. So that's just one of those the retail
okay,
price never went down kind of things.
right. All right,
What was
so
it? SpongeBob Truth or Dare? Looks
truth or
like
square?
Truth or okay. Well, that makes the difference.
Yeah.
Truth or Square.
My slideshow is tied to my numbers. I apologize.
It looks like you can get it loose on Amazon for $4. GameStop's got them for 7 used. I mean, I don't see like a Steam listing
Okay, so
anywhere.
this is probably $40 worth of games at the end of the day. So
Yeah, yeah,
not necessarily the 90 that they're boasting.
yeah. That's one thing I hate about that too, is because like you'll get games where like people will be like, you know, oh, Grand Theft Auto 5 for free, a $60 value, and it's like, okay, but everyone's got that game either for free or for like
Right.
$20 or $30 at this point. It's been on sale so many times. It was free on Epic. Like Steam sales have knocked it down below half. Like you can't tell me like
It's still
the only
a
people who own
$60
that game for
value.
$60 are people who bought it at launch. Like that's it.
Right.
It's not a $60 game anymore.
100%
It
not.
hasn't been in a long time. Like I always hate when they do that. You know?
Yep. All right. Let's not nitpick too much longer. I don't expect much out of games with gold moving forward either, so it'll be interesting to see what they have next month. God knows.
Yeah.
So Game Pass. We have Flight Simulator. We have Lightning Returns. Final Fantasy 13. Is that the third installment?
That that so Lightning Returns was actually an installment of Final Fantasy that never actually got made. We don't talk about that game. It doesn't exist.
Fair. All right. So we have
Yeah, that is the third one.
Kentucky Route Zero, which I hear is a really good game.
I hear good things.
Lawn Mowing Simulator, if you like lawn mowing simulators, is the definitive game for mowing the lawn.
Sure.
Young Souls, I hear that one's good, and that one is actually on limited run games right now. If people are looking for like physical, rare, or low print copies of Switch games, that is available on limited run games right now as well.
Yep.
Another one, Far Changing Tides. I think I remember seeing that one at E3. That one looked pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Shredders, A Memoir Blue, Crusader Kings 3, and Weird West. But we did forget one. Guardians of the Galaxy is also
Oh,
coming
there
to
you
Game
go.
Pass. So that's coming to that's going cloud console and PC. And I guess that one kind of fell short of Square's expectations. And
Yeah.
so they're getting their check out of Microsoft now with through that Game Pass. So
Yeah, for sure. I
it's
mean, I've
unfortunate.
heard
I hear it's a good game.
it's a good game overall.
I think that there was just a lot of association with that Avengers game they had, and I think Square was really relying on that Avengers game to bankroll a lot of these other projects, and that
Yeah.
just didn't pan out. So
I think
unfortunately, it's got that association with the Avengers game just because of the branding. Um, so that's
sure.
kind of where it was when it fell short. But unfortunately, it is a good game from what I've seen. But now I can check it out for free.
Yeah. I've heard that it's worth a run and that I mean getting it for free obviously you can't argue that price. Although
Mhm.
I will argue that price for Lightning Returns. You shouldn't pay that price for Lightning Returns. Don't download it. Um as a person who loves Final Fantasy, don't get me wrong, I'm a diehard big Final Fantasy fan, and I was extremely excited when that game came out to give it a chance. You want to talk about games that don't understand game design? That game has no idea what it wants to do with its life.
Oh no!
It's okay. Do you remember Majora's Mask?
Yes.
Imagine if you played Majora's Mask, but you couldn't reset time. You had to get everything done in the time frame they gave you.
Huh.
Now they gave you more time than the 3 days or so, but like you literally have an actual clock in game, and when the in-game clock runs out, it's game over. And it's not game over like revert to a earlier time and pick up from there. It's game over, start a new file because you ran out of time.
Huh.
It's like a weird rogue-like thing, right? Where it's just like, yeah, game's over, go start over, and you're like, okay, I guess.
The whole
Um,
Final Fantasy
yeah,
game?
that whole file is gone because the whole game. That's it. You had your time, and you ran out,
What?
and that sucks. Yep.
Oh my
Um,
god.
yeah, and then what's even better is, uh, so the
Holy
combat in
shit.
that game, the combat in Lightning Returns draws from the original 13, where you have like the different roles, like
Hmm.
magic damage, physical damage, buffer, like debuffer, tank, and healer. But you only have lightning. You don't have anyone else in your team or anything. You just can switch between jobs as lightning. You can pick 3 outfits, or like it's kind of like the dress gear thing.
Yeah.
You can pick 3, and then you can swap between them, and then they have different attacks or abilities based on which one you're in. And
Sounds horrible.
so fighting enemies does not give you experience. You do not get any experience from any of your fights. You
Huh.
only get experience from completing missions, of which there is a limited amount. So there's no grinding. There's no reward for killing things other than the materials they drop, which usually you don't use for much. So yeah, you just run around the game avoiding the enemies and then fighting the random bosses you have to fight, and then hopefully you don't run out of time.
So why would they put enemies in the game where fighting them gives you no benefit? Like
I,
just
dude, like about an hour into the game, I was like, wait, why am I fighting these? And I just started skipping like almost every fight I could, unless it was an enemy that I hadn't killed yet, and I would see what it dropped, and then I'd be like, that doesn't help me at all. I don't need that. Okay, great. And then I would just stop fighting those enemies again. Like, oh, dude, it's awful.
Wow, that
Like, it's
sounds like
so weird.
shit.
It was such, and I was so excited because she looks badass, and the trailer made it look cool,
Yeah.
and the premise of the game is great. It's way later in the future, and basically like the world was ending, and as a result time wasn't working anymore. Like people weren't getting older, so everyone was just staying the same age forever, and we were just living in a world that never really was like ending. And lightning was picked by the god of the world to like go start saving souls because they were going to wipe the whole planet, and so she had to go and save the people she cared about or the people she wanted to save before the end of the world. And it's a cool concept and it's really creative, but then when you actually pick up the controller, it's like someone threw up on you, and you're just like, oh, I don't like this at all, actually. Why am I doing this? And then you put the controller, hopefully you put the controller down and you don't play it. And it sucks because Final Fantasy 13 2 was actually really good overall and made a lot of improvements on the original game. So you had like momentum going in the right direction, and then they just squandered it really badly.
That's really bad.
Like it had all the potential to be like a Chrono Trigger style game after 2, because in Lightning in 13-2, you were jumping around the timeline, seeing characters out of place, and messing with the past to change the future. It was awesome overall. And then with this one, they were just like, what if we tossed all that out the window and told people they only have so many hours to beat the game, and sucks to suck if you don't, like, get good if you don't do it. Like it's awful.
Get good. Classic.
Oh man. Yeah, play Guardians. Don't play Lightning Returns. That's my spiel. Oh, Kentucky Route Zero. I never played it, but I've heard
very
the
good
the few people I've heard talk about that game have had nothing but positive things to say about it. And Flight Simulator. It's absolutely not a game that I care about in the slightest, but the people who love that game love that game.
They sure do. They sure do.
Like it's really high rated, isn't it? Actually, isn't Flight Simulator like actually pretty high up there because the people who enjoy it, and everyone else kind of ignores it?
Yeah, it tests very well with MySQL nerds and stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah, Flight Simulator.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see the appeal, but more power to you, I guess.
Right. All right, let's move on. We got a couple stories this week. I think we might have a couple kind of trailing in from the last week too. Obviously, we haven't been here to talk about some stuff, so we're gonna get loose with it. So, obviously, the biggest story right now everywhere is Elden Ring. Elden Ring is setting records this week, not only with big ratings and huge sales numbers too. So they are. This is the first major launch to outsell. Was it a non-FIFA? It's the highest selling non-FIFA, non-Call of Duty release since Red Dead Redemption 2.
Nice.
So that's huge because usually Rockstar games set records. So I'm sure we're going to be seeing a lot of records out of this game too. Obviously, we just had a shit on session about it, but fair. I think it was fair.
It's valid
criticism of the game. And again,
for sure.
Go buy it and have fun. It's not a bad game.
I would still tell people to buy it and play it either way. Yeah,
100%.
Especially like we're not talking about like a broken game like Ride to Hell Retribution where it's like not worth the money. Like this is something where I think the thing that bugs me the most about Elden Ring's design is that it's such a popular game franchise and they do so well that it's like watching Gordon Ramsay cook food in your kitchen. He shows up in your kitchen and he makes food and you're like, holy shit, it's Gordon Ramsay and he's making food in my kitchen. And he makes food and it's fantastic, and then he gives you all the food and then he serves you like a flat soda and you're like, hey, you gave me like a soda that's been open for 6 hours. And he's like, yeah. And you're like, wouldn't this have been like an easy thing to fix? And they're like, yeah. And you're like, and like everyone else at the table is like, dude, the soda's amazing. And you're like, the soda's flat. And they're like, man, he's a world-class chef. And like, this food is amazing. So who cares if the soda's flat? And it's like, okay, but like, I'm concerned because this should be an easy fix, right?
Right.
Like,
See,
so
it's a world-class
that's what
chef
bugs me.
dilemma is
Right.
they're more worried about being part of a thing that's hype than they are
Right.
the actual quality or outcome of it. You know,
That's what bugs me about Elden Ring. I think is because people talk about From Software and Miyazaki being geniuses, and in a lot of respects, they are. They do a lot of things right, and a lot of things are very well done. They've obviously got a formula going that no one else has been able to replicate very well. I mean, we hear Souls like all the time for these knockoff games that aren't actual made by them because it's almost like its own genre, like Metroid, where Metroid made the Metroidvania genre.
or like jet ski game that we saw in E3. It was it was the Dark Souls of jet ski games.
The Dark Souls of jet skis. Like there's a reason why that's like that, sure, but it's all the more frustrating to watch someone put out masterpieces, and then right as it comes off the assembly line, the dude farts on it, and you're like, but why? Why can't you just not do the last thing? Like, why can't you just make this one thing better? Why can't like think about it? As much as people like to meme about like the easy mode, like,
You got me. You got me good. Oh man.
like as much as people like to harp about like people asking for easy mode, people asking for this and that, accessibility options and stuff, like if they just took an extra month and like I talked to Dark about this and he was like, well, an easy mode would require blah blah. I'm like, dude, just make the easy mode like gravy easy mode. Make like scale all the damage down, make it so the bosses and the enemies never do more than 2 attacks at a time, like in a row, like they don't combo you. And if you're like, well, that's piss easy, who cares? Let them play piss easy mode and have a good time with piss easy mode, and then they won't be on Twitter complaining about why it's too hard.
Right.
There you go. And then you don't care. Like it's not like you're ever going to play piss easy mode, so what do you care? Like,
and the real Souls fans get to gatekeep even more. That's what they love doing.
Right. Oh, you played on piss easy mode? That makes you a piss baby, and they're like, okay, fine. Like,
baby.
Like,
or that farts on his games.
Yeah, as far as his game, but you get what I'm saying. It's really frustrating to watch. Like I'll have the same thing. Like if the Kirby 3D game comes out and it's a fantastic game, but it has like a microtransaction store, I'll complain about that. I'll be 100%. Like, this didn't need to be here. You had a perfect thing going other than this one problem. Like Witch Queen for Destiny. Obviously, I think we're probably going to talk about that later. Witch Queen had a perfect launch as far as I can tell. There was some minor things that weren't really. It wasn't affecting a lot of people at a time. Most people were just clearing content, having a great time. Crafting weapons was awesome. People were having a good time crafting weapons. There was like a little UI issue with that where some people were not sure about how to do it or how to spend the materials, and they were burning materials on accident, not spending them all, I guess. Like, I guess there's multiple things you have to do to craft your weapon, and if you only fill in one and then hit go, it just eats your material. So that was kind of whatever. But like overall, it was a great launch. And then the raid happened, and there was a lot of bugs, and there was a lot of error codes, and people were having a very hard time playing that content.
Yeah.
Like, you're allowed to be like, hey, the world first race sucked because of the error codes and the bugs, and the fact that like eight or nine things had to be disabled to go into it. You could still say the launch was great, and the game is great, and everything about it overall was great, and then also still be like, it sucks that they had to like ban 5 exotics and 4 items and a couple of perks and whatever for the race day. Like, that is a valid thing to be like, this sucked that this happened. You know what I mean?
100%.
And you'll be like, hey, it really sucked that people were getting error coded. And like, well, who cares? Life is random. And it's like, that's not how that works, though. Like, life is random, so it's okay if people are getting error coded in a competition to like complete a game first. Like, or like they were like, oh yeah, warlocks could generate orbs like crazy, but the hunters had their exotic turned off to do that, and the glaive got turned off, and the 1-2 punch combo on Titans got turned off. Sure, like, that can be a thing, but that also does really suck if I was a glaive hunter and you were a 1-2 punch Titan, and our buddy was like a warlock, and the two of us get shafted going into the raid, and that dude's just like, well, I guess I'll do my thing still, and it's like, it feels bad, right? And it's a valid complaint. And then you don't see it as bad from the Destiny community as you do from the Souls community, but you'll still see a little bit of that, like, who cares? Like, play something else then. And it's like, okay, but when you tell me to play something else, if I'm having a good time in Destiny and then Destiny fucks me over somehow, and I say, hey, this is a problem, and you say, go play something else, I go play something else like forever.
Right.
So, and I haven't been back to Destiny in probably like a year, and that is part of it is the company's prerogatives and incentives, their decision making process.
Oh, 100%.
Um, but that's the thing. Every time someone's like, "Well, go play something else," and it's like, "Go play something else" isn't the way that you get to like what Elden Ring is doing, where they're making good money on their game. Like
Right.
you don't get that when you keep telling people to just not engage if they don't like what's happening.
Right. And as much as I love Destiny and a good chunk of the community, you see it on Twitter. If like any game company talks about any like news game company talks about it, people still attack it with a negative connotation. And these are
Mm-hmm.
people who have been running with the same opinions since it came out year one. And
Yeah,
those opinions, like you could just tell, it's like this dated information. Like the criticisms
yeah,
don't hold up anymore. But
sure.
it's hard to shake those negative connotations once they're there. So
Right, and that's the thing too is like you can have like like obviously me and you have both sat here and read articles where the people literally didn't know what was going on in the game. They were talking about things that have already been gone or weren't there in the first place. Like we've seen weird shit. Like what was
mhm.
it I saw the other day? The Arceus thing about how to evolve Sylveon. You give it a Firestone, and I was like, this isn't
Oh
even remotely how this game works. You don't even know what you're talking about. But
yeah.
okay. And we've seen that before, and we try to like point it out and laugh at it when it happens. But for every person complaining about a thing that's not actually a problem in Destiny, you've got someone being like, I don't like that the Destiny vaults content.
Sure.
And that's a valid complaint. And then when they say,
100%.
well, stuff's going to come out of the vault, and you're like, what's come out of the vault? Because everything that's gone in there has stayed there. And they go,
Mhm.
well, we got back, the vaulted glass. And you're like, that wasn't vaulted content. That was from a different game. And they're like, if you don't like it, play something else. And it's like, see, now, like,
They brought
it's,
Mars back, but it's not a landing zone.
yeah, I heard that
It's
Mars was back for the new content,
but
but
it's just like a little
it's
area
not.
that's like
Yeah.
mostly a vendor area for items and shit. It's almost like another version of the Helm at the end of the day. It's
Right.
reskinned. There are a couple missions on Mars and stuff, but other than that, it's really not like the content we had in Warmind, where there was an actual landing zone and exploring areas and
Sure.
missions and shit. I mean, there's a couple missions, but it's not like a major part of the game.
Yeah,
It's
Mars had like a public event thing going. It had like a unique public event where you had those towers that you would activate and run
yeah,
around,
hmm
and yeah, there was a ton of stuff there, things to collect and everything. Yeah, but now they get to be like, well, Mars is back. So now when someone's like, how come things aren't being
right,
unvaulted? It's like Mars is back. It's like
yeah.
no, Mars isn't back.
Call
One
that out.
corner of Mars is back. Like,
Yeah, call that
like
out 100% all day.
yeah. But that's the thing is like you see that with and it sucks because like Elden Ring obviously is a success. It's doing well.
100%.
Destiny's Witch Queen obviously a success, doing well. Huge numbers, lots of players. It's great. I think the people in these communities need to just actually sit there and listen to complaints when complaints come through because the complaints are usually to try and make that game better. No one is
Right.
saying like the DCV is garbage because they want to be like, I hate Destiny. I'm going to make people hate Destiny. No, they
If
want to actually have that content back or they want
if
to play it.
I am going to spend $40 to $70 a year on content, then I'm going to hold them accountable for the content they give us.
Just straight up going away. Yeah,
And I love
absolutely.
the game, don't get me wrong, but I will hold those developers accountable
Dude, I
100%.
would love to just be
Why
able to boot
wouldn't
up
I?
Destiny. The gameplay of Destiny in general is fantastic. It's my
Mhm.
to this day it's probably my favorite shooting game I've ever played, and I've played all the Halos. It's like it's peak shooter. It's peak
100%. I mean,
gameplay shooter.
it's
Like
gameplay. Its gunplay is virtually unmatched. If there's
absolutely.
another game with better gunplay, I don't know it. Like I
Yeah,
just
I'd like to see it because I'll play that. But
100%, I'll play it.
but at the same time, I Destiny is unfortunately one of those games where like once you aren't caught up to it, you're immediately in the dust. Like
Mhm.
your stuff sucks, your gear sucks. All these new things happened, all these new missions are in place, all these things. And don't get me started on like coming back to that game. I did come back briefly to play around right before Witch Queen, the
Mhm.
last season when it first started. I hopped back into it and I was like, yeah, I got my artifact. I started doing my artifact stuff, and then it was like, I have a lot of missions I have to do. Okay, I have a lot of content I have to do that no one does anymore because the content was like from a season ago
Sure.
or 2 seasons ago. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
so you're not
okay.
those even though you can do that content, the activities are going to be bone dry. You're not going to have
But
any
then on
people
top of
join you.
that, I hadn't actually played since Beyond Light, so then it was like, there's a vendor up at Helm, and I'm like, okay, cool. I talked to the vendor at Helm, and he's like, you can only do this if you bought the last season for $10, and I'm like,
Right.
well, I didn't do that, and I'm not doing that now. And then I'm
Right.
like, okay, so I talked to someone else somewhere else, and they're like, this you can put or engrams in here to make items, but they're all sorted by season, and if you didn't buy any seasons, you don't do any of these. And I'm like,
Right.
okay, great. And then I'll be like, okay, I guess I'll go do story missions. And like, did you buy the current season? I'm like, no. And they're like, then you don't have story missions to do. And I'm like, okay. So what if I buy the current season? And they're like, well, if you buy the current season, great. But did you buy the last ones? Because we're starting you here, and if you didn't do here, that's not our problem.
Mm-hmm.
You just start here. And I'm like, okay, so I don't know who's what or why this is happening. I did like the one mission where like we went into like that one mission on the city, the Dreaming City, and we got to like Savathun, and she was like encased in a thing, and she's like,
Oh yeah.
I'm in here now.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, cool. And then they were like, so yeah, the rest of it's the season you have to buy. And I was like, but I don't even know why we did this. I don't even know why we're here.
Mm-hmm.
I know Savathun from content that is no longer even in the game. If I look at this on a current player who didn't play before and go, yeah, that's the lady from Savathun's song, the mission.
Right.
They're going to be like, I don't know what that is.
Oh, that was on Titan. That's game. That's
Yeah,
Planet
that was on
Titan.
a planet that doesn't exist from a content that doesn't exist anymore.
Right.
Like,
No, I will say that they are doing a good job of like retconning some of that stuff a little bit better in the game. They're certainly doing 100% better on getting players caught up, so that it doesn't feel like you can't.
Especially with the expansion.
Yes.
I will say the expansion is a great tool to get you caught up, but I'm worried about people who don't catch up now won't be able to do this next season, because you'll still get boosted to whatever, like 1350 or something,
right.
But you'll still be a season behind and therefore dead in the water until you catch up to that level.
Sure, but they did a good job.
And then it'll be a hot mess.
When they added the legendary campaign, it's a great pathway to get higher gear fast.
Oh, definitely.
And it's a great way to get raid ready very quickly. I think they did a really good job with it. They certainly improved.
Yeah.
It's far from perfect, but they certainly absolutely took strides to improve a lot of the issues that we've had in the past with it.
Absolutely.
And I'm glad that we're talking about Destiny and Death on an Elden Ring stories.
I think they're both, because they both put out their content so close to each other, and they're both companies that do 80% of it right and 20% wrong, and then everybody gets mad when you bring up the 20%. It's kind of just hand in hand that they're both going to end up being correlated to each other.
I totally agree.
And I feel bad because like we have other stuff that came out, like Arceus came out, and a lot of people gave it like hell at first when we first saw it. I mean, me and you, we all looked at it and we're like, this looks really bad.
Right.
And it turns out
first impressions of this video is it's not like I'm not thrilled about it.
Absolutely. But then here we are at launch or that post-launch where we've played it, and it's like they did so much right in this game that I can't even complain about it. I mean, I can still go, like sometimes I'll still be walking around and look at the water texture, and it's clearly like a repeated grid texture.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, that looks silly, but it takes me out for like 3 seconds. It does not take me out from that game as far as like getting one shot through a wall would take me out of Elden Ring.
Right.
Or whatever. Or I guess getting Anteater takes you out of Destiny, but like
not every great game needs to be deeply immersive.
Sure. I think Arceus' gameplay loop and everything is fun enough that I could care less what the background even looks like.
Sure.
Because, dude, let me tell you, it is bad at times. There's times where you'll have like a flying Pokemon in the background, like Staraptor, and if you're outside of a certain distance, they move to like literally like 5 frames, and they're doing like with their wings, and you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like it looks like a sign out of like Ice Climbers, like the birds and Ice Climbers. And it's like, that's stupid, and it looks silly, and they could have done that better for sure. But I'm having so much fun with that game that it doesn't matter. It's like the opposite of like a game like Elden Ring, where it's like you're having so much fun playing it, you don't care that there's bad things. I mean, I guess it's the same idea, right? Like maybe those people are enjoying the challenge so much that they don't really care about it not being fair or things being bad or whatever.
Look at this guy taking an examination from both sides. I like it.
I try. I mean, that's if I do nothing else, I like to at least walk down the middle and see,
100%.
what everybody's saying about something.
Absolutely.
Well, but don't get me wrong, if I walk down the middle and one side is like a bunch of dudes farting on their game, I'm gonna go stand on the other side.
Nice. Perfect segue into our next story, I guess. So obviously there was a big announcement this week. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet was announced. Pokemon Presents dropped some new surprise updates on all the current Pokemon games for Pokemon Day, which is the anniversary of Pokemon originally releasing. And then they also announced, of course, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. This is the 3rd major Pokemon game in less than a year. So that's pretty fucking big and impressive, I guess, to a degree. And of course, we saw people weren't very impressed with the trailer. The trailer, obviously, I have some criticisms of it too. Some of it being like really kind of choppy. And we saw the same thing with Arceus, but Arceus turned out pretty well at the end of the day.
Right. I'm starting to feel like this isn't a good medium for Pokemon's games because they don't present
Right.
that graphic
Their
fidelity that maybe they shouldn't be focusing on that.
their development cycle isn't trailer friendly to say the
Well,
least.
exactly. And you can't show people how fun it is to play unless they're playing. So,
Sure.
like,
And they didn't show
that
any.
might be the
They
case
didn't
for
show any
sure.
combat. They didn't show any like catching stuff. They didn't really show much of anything except for some fly throughs of the towns and the open areas and stuff. So there was a good
Yeah.
indication that it's going to be another open area game similar to Arceus. We don't we don't know how close the battling and catching is going to be to Arceus. Hopefully, we're going to see some of those elements carry over. That would be certainly in their best interest, I would think, because I
Yeah.
think they've certainly revolutionized and created a new path forward for the expectations on how these games should be played now.
You know what's funny actually is there's two things that are really funny about the way that works. One, Arceus did a really good job of blending old school Pokemon
Mm-hmm.
and new school Pokemon because it has like in Let's Go Eevee, they messed with like not combat and it was just catching Pokemon by throwing at them, like in Pokemon Go.
Mm-hmm.
So Pokemon Go and Let's Go Eevee both trained players to like just catch them, right? Like you do in the show.
Sure.
And but in Arceus, you had options. You could also just engage every Pokemon in combat and catch them after weakening them, just
Mm-hmm.
like you would in the old school Pokemon games. So I saw people saying like, "Oh, I hope it goes back to regular catching," or "I hope it does this," "I hope it does that," and it's like, dude, Arceus solved that though. You can do both.
Yeah.
Like it's the same thing with Elden Ring having easy mode. If you don't like just raw catching, you can battle every single Pokemon all game long and catch them that way.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't like battling, pretty much every Pokemon in the game, except for like those encounter ones that you have to fight, like the legends and stuff, you can like hit them with a ball from bushes and catch them.
Yeah.
So like do
I've
both.
I've ambushed a couple of alphas just sitting in bushes and
Yeah,
throwing
yeah.
food out, and then I'll whip an Ultra Ball out. Boom.
Oh yeah, dude. Poor
Sometimes
Tables
it goes
Dose.
terribly
Like
wrong, but sometimes it goes right.
yeah. But that's what's brilliant about Arceus's design is like you
Mm-hmm.
have both now, and
Mm-hmm.
it seamlessly combined like because you have like the new generation of Pokemon players who grew up on Go and then Let's Go Eevee that it was like why don't we just always catch Pokemon like this?
Yeah.
And then now you have the old players that are like why don't we always battle them to catch them? And it's like dude, just they're both here now. You can do both. It's
Yeah.
great,
I'm not gonna
and I'd
lie.
love to
I
see that
I enjoyed
go
those
that way.
Pokemon Let's Go games.
Yeah, they're
That's my
fun,
personal. Yeah,
definitely.
I liked them. I liked them for what they were. It was a good revisiting of those original games. The catching
Absolutely.
was a little bit different, but I had a lot of fun because guess what? I got to take my kid through that game. We could like both have a
Right.
Joy-Con and catch together. We had a fucking blast. So not
Oh yeah,
every
absolutely.
Pokemon game is going to be a hit with Pokemon fans in general.
Sure.
But I think it did a good job doing what it was trying to do. So
I feel like for me it's just like Arceus the design opened up Pokemon to a better way to do Pokemon
mhm.
that I think should be the standard going forward. I think the battling and the catching should be like it was. I think maybe you don't necessarily have to bring forward the agile and strong style
I wasn't a
because
fan of
it
that.
feels
I didn't
like
really use
that
it.
didn't really come into play much for me.
No.
Most of the time, agile style didn't give me an extra turn, so I didn't use it. And I
Right.
would only use strong style if I was worried I wouldn't one shot something. I would turn on like the make sure I one shot you button. But
Right.
like that was it. And I didn't if it hadn't been there, I wouldn't have cared. It's cool that it appeals to like feudal Japan styles of combat where you have the quick and the powerful. I get
Mhm.
that and that's awesome. And if they had a new gimmick that was replacing that, I wouldn't care. But I think like the core of Arceus is really well done
I agree.
and should be the standard. I think that the world and the catching and the combat of Arceus should be the standard going forward for the rest of these games. And I
Definitely.
hope that's the case with Scarlet Violet, but I'm a little worried because the development cycle is so fast.
Yeah.
They would have had to either already have been doing it.
Or had
Like
teams
I
or
don't think
something.
feedback from Arceus is going to make it into Scarlet and Violet really because it's literally like a year, not
Mhm.
even a year. Oh, that's insane.
And it's not unheard of for Pokemon to split teams. They've usually done. They have two teams and they'll alternate. But this is a
mhm.
lot, man. This is like a lot.
Well,
So
usually when they alternate, it's like every other year, right? Like they do like
mhm.
main Pokemon game,
Special
and then
edition.
Arceus would be like the following holiday, like they do with like Shining Pearl and Brilliant Diamond wasn't a main title game like
Right.
Sword and Shield. Sword and Shield was the year prior, and then you'll get Sun and Moon, but then maybe the next year it's like Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, and then
Mhm.
next year you get Sword and Shield. Like every other game, every other year seems to be like the new game, and obviously that's not the case with Scarlet and Violet. It's literally, I mean, well, actually it is, isn't it? Arceus is what throws it out, right? Because Arceus is like a wide
Right.
another side project that came out of nowhere because Shining and Brilliant would have been the side game,
Hmm.
but Arceus was also made. Yeah, that's weird how they did that.
Yeah, definitely.
I do worry about like, and we don't hear about this from Nintendo very much, but I do worry about like crunch at the Pokemon Studio because it seems like a really tight window to put out a full sequel to another installment. Like
Hmm. In Coral,
the fact
even
that
in
Arceus
relation
is
to Sword and
here,
Shield, it's pretty close. Let alone
yeah, yeah, yeah,
two other not generations, but mainline games that have popped between here and there. So yeah, it's
right.
interesting to say the least.
It does feel like I don't know the condition of this studio. Maybe they made the teams bigger, or maybe the the Arceus team is going to jump in and help with this once now that they're like basically done, or Daybreak or whatever's done. I don't
Sure.
know,
Yeah, I don't know.
but it's it can be messy, and I would be disappointed but not entirely surprised if we get another Jason Schreier article this time next year about the crunch of Scarlet and Violet or something.
Yeah,
I would hate to see it, but if it happened, I wouldn't be like impossible. I would be like, okay. I mean,
right.
I understand that seems like that could be a reason that happened. Yeah.
I know like Nintendo seems to be pretty proactive against crunch, but again, this isn't
Yes, they're
necessarily
usually pretty good.
Nintendo itself. This is Nintendo
Like
owns like
Game
a
Freak.
third of the Pokemon brand. So yeah,
Yeah.
it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. That is for sure.
But
But
overall, I think like for the Pokemon Day, going back to like the core of like the whole Pokemon Day thing they did, it was pretty cool. Pokemon Go got some Alolan Pokemon. Pokemon Cafe got new Pokemon and a new mode where you can send out Pelipper to go do stuff, and he'll bring some people back sometimes if you send him out, I guess.
right,
Um, Pokemon
Dime.
Unite had Hoopla,
Mm-hmm.
and there's like a bunch of quests you can do to get him permanently.
Hoopa.
Oh, Hoopla. Yeah, I don't know.
Love
Um,
it. Yeah, Unite got
and I think there
something.
was
Arceus got
yeah.
the Daybreak.
Oh, Sword and Shield got something, didn't they?
Um,
Like a mystery gift or something, a
Brilliant
letter?
Diamond and
Or
Shining
no,
Pearl
Shining
got
Shining Pearl did.
code for Shaman.
Yeah, they got Shaman.
Yeah, a buddy of mine was actually doing a live stream trying soft resetting it for a shiny. I'm like, oh fuck that,
Jesus.
fuck that with a rake.
Isn't it something stupid like 64,000, 1 in
um,
64,000?
yeah, because soft resetting it doesn't cut your even having a shiny
It
charm.
doesn't do like the shiny chain, right? Where like
Yeah,
it stacks,
you
it just
can't chain it. I
resets.
don't know if a shiny charm, if he even had a shiny charm, would cut that in half because it's a soft reset. So I don't know.
Yeah, that's rough.
But take a quick look at the starters we have. We have Weed Cat, Donald Duck, and an apple with a craft single slice stuck to its belly.
Craft single.
So I
Uh,
obviously the cat. That's what I'm going with. It'll probably be like the first time I don't go default fire starter.
yeah.
I don't know what that thing's. Apparently, it's supposed to be a crocodile chili pepper,
Yes.
which I get it, but why does it look
Yeah.
like an apple? I thought that was the grass starter at first because like when they released it, like the stem was a little greener. And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, so that's the plants, that's the fire or the grass starter. That's an apple, and then I see the green cat. I'm like, well, that's what's going on here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of threw me for a loop, but yeah, strange. And somebody on Twitter even said these are the most fake rumor mill Pokemon to ever actually
Yeah.
be real Pokemon.
Rumor starters, yeah,
Yeah,
for
yeah.
sure.
So, but yeah, it's
You
cool.
know,
I'm excited for it.
I was laughing because I saw the Kingdom Hearts community was laughing about this, and they had Mickey standing next to Donald and Goofy and being like, "Now that
Yes.
we sold Sora to Smash Brothers, you guys have to go to Pokemon." And then it was like the fire and the water types were Goofy and Donald.
Yeah. I even posted on Twitter a picture of Battle Cat from He-Man. I was like, "Oh, this new
Oh yeah,
the third
yeah.
evolution of this what is it? I can't remember what the hell it's called now. Something a
Like
Tito,
Aratito or something.
yeah, something. But yeah, I was like, I can't wait for this final evolution. Yeah, it's funny. I love that it's getting memed on. But yeah, I think we're all generally excited, and that's the thing with like I wanted to say with Pokemon, it's like they don't need to crunch, like they don't need to crunch games. You know why? Because they can put the fucking logo on anything and it'll sell 1 billion copies. So,
Right.
and I think with
And I think
Arceus,
like
we've proved that it doesn't need to be like 2 versions anymore.
well, that's what I was gonna say. I think with Arceus, we've proved a lot of things about the Pokemon franchise that it can
100%.
work. It can work a lot differently and still be good.
Moving
Like
away from the core formula. Yeah.
I don't think I've known anyone yet who's played Arceus and then like came away from it with a sour taste. Everyone I know that picked it up, even people who were like very critical of it at launch,
Hmm.
because like me and you and Dark all played it. Like I'm pretty sure like everyone, a bunch of people that I know in real life play it. Like people in my Discord play it, and like I've yet to see a person be like, "Yeah, I played it and I didn't like it." I mean, I'm sure there are people, of course. The law of statistics, there's got to be some people who didn't like it, but like it's doing really well. I mean, we checked it on sales, I think, a few weeks ago on it, and it was selling really well, right?
Hmm.
It's I don't know. I could talk forever about Arceus because I feel like there's so many little things they did right for quality of life about that game. Like so many good improvements that they should do to the franchise. You know how many times like in Arceus you can knock out a Pokemon, like an encounter Pokemon, and then it'll still be there for you to go back and fight it again, so you can catch it.
Hmm.
Like you don't miss the chance to catch it.
Yeah, they
Um,
respawn. A lot of stuff
yeah, they
respawns.
respawn.
Even the alphas respawn.
Like yeah, even the alphas come back. Like that's the thing that was like, dude, as a kid, that was unheard of. If you knocked out Mewtwo in the cavern, sucks for you, dude. Like you don't get another chance at that. Um, God, there's so many little quality of life things like the way items work, the way your satchels work. Like increasing your satchel thing was a thing that was nice.
Hmm.
I don't know if you ever saw that dude and you talked to him. He was basically like the Awaka dude, where like you talk to him and
Yes.
the concept is hilarious because he's just like, I can teach you how to make more room in your bag if you want to listen. And you're like, yeah, I'll pay you 20 grand so you can tell me how to put more stuff in my bag. And he's like, okay, listen, this is how you put one more thing in your bag. And you're like, okay, thanks. And he's like, I can tell you how to put one more thing in your bag if you want to pay me again. And you're like, okay, thanks. Yeah, it was 30 grand. Yeah, okay. Like giving this guy mortgage payments. And he's just like,
Right.
move it over. Put one
Yeah.
more thing in
Just
there.
squeeze it.
Like,
Yeah, well, they were memeing on him too, saying, "Oh, Palkia is not the real god of space; it's this guy."
yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
did
yeah, exactly.
did you
That's
see?
great.
There's a girl that posted on Twitter. She's like, "My boyfriend accidentally gave a shiny what's the name, Wurmple to the guy in front of the building, and he like it'll grow over time. So now this
Yeah,
shiny Wurmple is like taunting him. He can't get it back.
yeah,
So the
yeah.
guy has a shiny Wurmple, and he just it sits there, just taunts him the entire time, and like that's
You
it.
can't. Yeah,
That sucks. That sucks
that's
balls, dude.
incredible, dude. That's incredible. But oh man, there's just so much about this, the structure, the missions. Like, there's so much about that game they did right that
Hmm.
the exploring the world, having the flying mount, and all the different things you can do. Like, even like the rudimentary crafting system. It's not like it's complicated. It's the bare bones. Like
Right.
but it's still such a good improvement. You know,
Oh, 100%.
I think I think I think Arceus is where it's at. I think the Pokemon Company should move their main games towards Arceus in one capacity or another, at least. Um,
Definitely.
and I guess we'll have to see because that's the thing. They didn't show us. They showed us the world, and it was like, yeah, this could be like another Arceus, but it also could be like the wild zone you had in Sword Shield, where it was like, okay, it's an open world. I get it.
Yeah. So
So
it'll be interesting to see
we'll
them
have to
trying
see.
to like strike a balance between that open worldness and having like a linear storyline. Um, so
Yeah,
and this whole, it was funny because like this whole time they said that this stuff couldn't be done, and there's a ROM hack of like Pokemon Crystal where you can play it in any direction you want, so it can be done.
yeah, for
And
sure.
the game scales by itself. And this is like a hacked Game Boy Color ROM, so
Right.
if third party hackers and ROM writers can do this stuff, then Nintendo can do it. But yeah, anyway, moving on. I'm excited for it, but yeah, we got to move on at this point.
Yeah,
So
for sure. I want
um,
to see more before I told my son when they first showed the trailer for it and we were watching it on Pokemon Day, I was like, if this is another Arceus style game, I'll buy it. And if it's not, I probably won't. Like
mhm.
if it's just like if it's like Sword and Shield again, I'll probably pass. I'll be honest.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
But we'll see.
I wouldn't be in a hurry for it. But who am I kidding? My daughter will want it anyway. So
Well, yeah, I said I won't play it. I'll still have to buy the two copies for the kids, I'm
right,
sure. But it'll
right.
prevent me from buying three copies, okay?
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. All right, moving on. Halo's delaying its campaign mode again. It looks like three. It
Halo
looks like
DeLeo.
so. Well, it took 3 times, but 3-4 Industries finally killed the franchise as Halo Infinite faces more delays less than 4 months after launch at what should have been a 2020 Xbox launch title. 343 faces another volley of criticism as fans and critics alike scorch them on Twitter. Their new season will be called Lone Wolves on the account that you still can't play the campaign with your friends. So
Oh my god.
What an absolute dumpster fire. And I remember someone back in like August saying that there's red flags, but no one
Yeah,
believed
yeah,
me. Who
yeah.
was that?
Oh, hey Jamie, you got that tweet?
Who was that? That was this guy. That was this guy. No one believed me. Um, so yeah, Halo dropped kind of like an update, kind of like how Bungie has this week at Bungie, except that this isn't released in any normal fashion. There's
Right.
one of the criticisms is that 343 doesn't really talk to their fans.
Yeah, they kind of
Uh
just ignore what's happening and whatever.
yeah, so they dropped and do you like the picture that I use? I got it right from their update. It's just an empty multiplayer map, which is what the condition of Halo is in right now.
What even am I looking at? This dude, I'm sorry. This looks like 360 or original Halo
It
like
does.
Xbox graphics. It does not look like a next gen title.
So
Why would they pick this?
I don't know.
I don't, you know. Okay, can I just say like, what is happening with 343 Studios, dude? Like, remember how like when Cyberpunk came out and it was like a broken disaster and people were like, "What is happening with this game?" And then they did like "Oh, we're gonna fix it. Hang on, we're doing a thing." And then like they kept backstepping and making mistakes and being like, "Oh, whatever, this, that, and the other thing, this, and the other thing." And the same thing happened with like Anthem. Remember when Anthem came out and then they were like, "We have plans. We're doing stuff. It's gonna be better." And then they didn't talk to anyone for like 3 months. And then they were like, "Okay, we're still gonna fix things. Don't worry." And then they didn't say anything for a while and like quietly just like went away. Like that's what it feels like is happening. It feels like since 343 took over Halo, Halo 4 was like I had fun, but it wasn't great. So okay, whatever. And then 5 was like, what the fuck are we doing? And now with Infinite, it's like, no, seriously, what are you people doing over there? How can you guys get handed a franchise like Halo and do this to it?
Right.
Like, dude, we could have picked like the 50 best Halo fans in the world and been like, you guys are the marketing team now. Make the decisions about how this game's gonna get out there. And they would have came up with ideas for like seasons and content, and you would have probably not gotten great ideas out of them overall. But like anything feels like it would have been better than this. What is
They
happening?
launched live service game, and then when they launched, they're like, "All right, so what's our plan?" And they're like, "What? A plan?" Like they just, I don't know how they fell on their face this hard so fast.
You know what this feels like to me. Actually, this feels like crypto or NFTs, where like they
Almost.
got on the bandwagon because it was the hot thing to do, and then people were like, "So now you have to do the things that those things do," and they were like, "We just did the thing because people said it was the new thing to do, like be a live service game, make the multiplayer free, charge
Right.
full $60 for the half game as the
Oh,
campaign,
a game plan. Well, we didn't
don't
do
have the
that.
other modes, and then make money, right? Like you release free multiplayer, charge money, like put out a beta, tell people it's a beta, but then let people pay a bunch of money for stuff in the beta, and then release the full thing. Nothing changes. It's just released now. Um, Campaign comes around the corner. Missing Forge, no co-op, still $60.
Still missing.
Okay,
Still
and
delayed.
then they were like, oh yeah, and then we'll put out like a roadmap that says we're going to totally make content later, and then we can just walk away from it and make our money. And it was like,
And then they reneged on that roadmap. Like
yeah, and then on top, yeah, even
the
on
little
top of
roadmap
that,
that they had. Like, what the fuck
dude,
is
how
this?
how can
What?
that's
This
why
is a
I don't understand.
clown show.
I don't understand how you can be handed a franchise like Halo. Halo, dude, you could have just like taken you could take Halo 5 and clean it up and make it look as pretty as possible. Add some new content in story mode.
Right.
Don't add any mechanics. Don't add any new weapons. Don't touch anything else. And you still would have like an 8 out of 10 game
That
because
would
people
still
enjoy the
feel
franchise
a
and the
lot better
combat still
than
feels
what
good.
this is.
How did this happen?
Yeah. God
I
damn,
don't get
man.
it.
It's embarrassing. And like I shit on
I
them
don't
all the
get it.
time, but it's because like honestly, at the end of the day, Xbox people and people who enjoy this game deserve better than this. This is a
Well,
fucking
exactly.
joke.
You remember how I did the Gordon Ramsay thing before, and I said like he makes you all your great food, and then the soda's flat, and you're allowed to complain that the soda's flat. This is the opposite. Gordon Ramsay showed up and gave you a fresh Pepsi and like
He pissed on
a
it
whole
too.
bunch of plates of shit, and was like, "Here you go." And it was like, "How did you make this? Nothing like on this plate is your level of quality at all." And he's like,
Yeah.
"Fucking Sprite is crispy though, isn't it?" And you're
Uh,
like, "Yeah, the
A
Sprite's
sprite's
crispy, I
a
guess."
sprite's real crispy though. Isn't it?
Yeah, like okay, cool. Like I picked up Halo Infinite when it first came out, and I was like, yeah, you know what? Some of the new guns are cool, and the gunplay still feels like pretty good Halo
Mm.
gunplay.
Crispy
That's
Pepsi.
it.
Crispy Pepsi. Brilliant. Yes. Fought it on the game though.
Oh
Yes,
my god! But like,
delicious, crispy.
okay, two things bother me about this. One,
My Gordon
the fact
Ramsay
that this
impression.
happened. No, that was great. I love that. Keep that up. Keep that energy up. No, one, how do you take a franchise like this and bury it like this? Like this was literally Halo is one of those franchises that can print money. Halo is up there with current Destiny and Souls. It's up there with Pokemon. It's up there with Zelda. It's up there with Nintendo's first party stuff like Kirby and Mario, where like you can put out like the shittiest Mario game in the world, and it's still going to do good numbers, even if people hate it because it's a Mario game. People are
Right.
going to go in being like, "Well, it's a Mario game." You can make like a bad Zelda, and people will still buy it out the box and be like, "Well, I tried it," and you'll still get people who will defend it to the death because they're Zelda fans or something. Halo has that base. Halo has the ability to put out whatever and be like, "It's a thing," and people will still be like, "Yeah, like I mean, you obviously know because you're talking to people on Twitter who are still saying that it's a fantastic game or whatever." But
They're
like,
not playing it, but they'll sit there and defend it.
dude, this game was supposed to come out in 2020,
Like
and
I
all it had to be was a prettier Halo with
right.
new stuff.
Yeah. Why did this need to be a season game orient? Like I'm so goddamn sick and tired, and I know as a Destiny person, I'm so goddamn sick and tired of games as a service.
Well,
Um,
dude, like and I feel bad because like there's one game that I would argue is games as a service, sort of, that I play that I enjoy, and that's Final Fantasy 14. But
mhm,
that's because I feel like games as a service has such a bad connotation because most games that try that are like cash grabby or like digital marketplace, microtransaction, blah blah blah, or like
sure.
Destiny's chopped up seasonal content all split up and whatever. Like, but like Final Fantasy, at least that team loves to give stuff to our players for the subscription that we pay.
Yeah.
Like, I do subscribe, and it is a $15 a month or whatever. But like, we just got our live letter, and they were talking about next month when they give us the patch in the middle of April, and it's like a whole new PvP mode, new story missions, 24-man raid, new dungeon, new trial, extreme trial, unreal trial, Dragon Song Ultimate, like content. Like when they do their patches, it's insane. Um, and it's wild to watch these other companies be like, yeah, that's happening on one. I have that on my left, and on my right, I have Halo being like samurai outfit, $60, and I'm like,
Hmm. Yeah. $14,
what?
14.99 for a fucking belt cosmetic. But
And what
here's
kills me
Claire said.
too.
Claire said,
Oh
I
yeah,
spent my fair amount of time in the new Halo multiplayer, and it's a huge letdown on so many levels.
absolutely. And you know what sucks? Going into the launch of Halo, back when they first announced it, and before we had Craig and like the graphics problem, and they delayed it,
Hmm.
like they were talking a good game. They were talking about like they're gonna make battle passes, like how Destiny has the season pass things, but like each track would stay forever. So if
Right.
you went to the second season, third season, fourth season, and you wanted to go back to track two to get stuff off track two, you could just set yourself to that track and make progress against that track. And I thought that was brilliant. I was like, dude, if I ever make a game with this type of content release, I'm absolutely using that because that's a brilliant idea. And Final
Yeah.
Fantasy 14 had the same idea. In the PvP content, you have PvP seasons with tracks that never go away. You can always go
Right. You
back
can
and earn
always
those
do them.
rewards. Or if those rewards are no longer available on the track, they enter like the normal reward pool so you don't miss out on anything. There's no
Sure.
fear of missing out. It's just there.
Right.
Um, and I love that, and that's what they were talking about. And I was like, man, Halo made a good call with that. And then the delay happened, and then whatever this is
Hmm.
happened. Like, oh man, and it just what bugs me the most is that Halo was such a good franchise, and it had such a good name and a good following, and this isn't just like they did a bad job. This is like a reverse. This was like they could have just put out cookie cutter garbage, slapped Halo on it, and gotten a 7 out of 10 from everybody, got an 8 out of 10 from everybody, made their money, and walked
Sure.
away. And whatever the next Halo game. But like they like shifted into reverse, and they like saw Ramsey coming out of my house with plates of shit, and were like, let's run him over. Like, oh my god, I don't get it.
And that was my biggest. This is like one of my biggest criticisms of Microsoft. They rely on very old franchises to keep them running, and when it was like halfway through the Xbox One's life cycle, they were just like, "Oh, we're bringing back Gears of War, we're bringing back Halo, we're bringing back this," and it's like people like almost forgot about these games because they're like they were so out
Crackdown.
of the loop. Yeah, and like they, I don't think they have stake in the nostalgia bug as much as like Nintendo does. They can't get away with it like Nintendo can get away with it. Um, so
Yeah.
they're not really focusing on releasing new titles, And what new titles they are doing, they're buying studios to acquire them.
Yeah, like Helios, like Senua's Sacrifice or whatever, where they were just like,
Right.
the first one did great, buy studio, please make two. Like, okay, but that's easy. Anyone with money can just buy a studio who's already making good games and be
Right.
like, keep making good games. Like,
And then what is it? Lion's Head Studio they closed down. They bought it for
Lionsgate or whatever. Yeah, Lionhead. Yeah, the Fable guys
right.
they killed.
And now they're building another
Well,
Fable.
dude,
They're rebooting Fable, another old ass franchise.
well look
Um,
what happened.
and they're doing it in the
They
Forza engine.
yeah, dude, don't even be started about the fact that it was the Forza team and the Forza engine. I don't. You know what's funny? Actually, that reminds me. Battlefield. I think it was the Frostbite engine for Battlefield.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that was the engine they were using for Anthem
Hmm.
when they made it, and that caused a lot of problems for them because it did not have half the stuff that Anthem needed. It had no sort of stats, like role playing game stats,
Right.
RPG, like damage modifier kind of stuff. Like all that was not there in that game. You didn't even have a camera that allowed you to get out of first person because you don't do that at Battlefield ever. So like
Oh
they didn't even
no.
have half the stuff they needed. They were like they had to make a a third person camera and have it function. All of its functions and behaviors had to be from scratch, and the whole RPG system was from scratch because Battlefield doesn't do any of that. So they took the Battlefield the engine and they were like, we're going to build Anthem out of this. And they said that they would lose months on development time trying to make it work because it wasn't working and it wasn't built for that. It just wasn't made for that. It didn't have these things in consideration when it was developed.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a big part of why Anthem had problems was like the development was because they were trying to like shoehorn it onto like the whatever that engine's called. I just said the name of it, Frostbite engine. Like, oh boy. And then it feels like that's sort of like I almost feel it's kind of the same thing that's happening now, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's not. I don't know. I mean, sometimes you get some games like Final Fantasy VII Remake where like they acknowledge that it was a better idea to go with like the Unreal Engine and just use that tool because it's there. Kingdom Hearts did the same thing. They went to Unreal. I think a lot of Sony games have been like half and half Unreal now because it's a good tool and it's there and it works.
Sure.
But like, I don't know, man. It's just funny to watch these kinds of things happen.
It's bad.
Yeah,
So
Anthem was the last one I saw that did that. I think where they blatantly were trying to use Frostbite and it was not good for that.
right, it's just shoehorning it in and building around it. That's such a bad way to go about it.
But Mass Effect had the same problem. Mass Effect, I think, was also built on the Frostbite engine, and they had the same
Hmm.
problem. They were like, we don't have this stuff taken into account, and we have to just make it work, like after the fact. No, it's insane.
Yeah, it's not great.
And it never works out. Even the original Final Fantasy 14 was like that. The original engine they had for 14 was garbage because it
Right.
wasn't made. It was not made correctly. A lot of things were wrong. A lot of things were bad. And that's why they scrapped it. I mean, even Destiny's engine right now, Destiny's been working a lot on fixing their engine as they go because the initial engine was like make game, game gets some expansions, game goes away.
Right.
Make game, game gets some expansions. Oh, holy shit, this is actually our 10-year engine now. Fuck, like how do we make this a 10-year engine now? And they've been having to go back. Dude, remember when what was the thing they added? I
Well,
was having a field day picking on them for that one. They were
I
like,
remember when they used to patch their games for testing, it would take a full 24 hours to recompile the fucking game
"Oh yeah,
until they
oh
can
yeah,
even test their
it's super
tests.
spaghetti code."
Yeah.
But no, when Destiny added, with the new reworks of like the elements, they have it now. So like with the supers, that's what it was. With the supers now, they were saying like, oh, you know, now that we've changed how the supers charge and work, you can have some supers that have a lot shorter charge time and some that have a lot longer charge time, and they're not tied to each other. Like super regeneration used to be like a flat time, and then you had abilities and stuff that could make it shorter, or you had like stats that could affect it. But like
Right.
the
The
base cooldown
ability
for a
to make
super
them
for
dynamic
everyone,
was not there.
yeah, like it was always like a solid 5 minute cooldown for a super period, and then other things would modify it, which means you'd have supers that were way better and supers that were way worse because waiting so many minutes for your golden gun is bad, whereas waiting so many minutes for like your Titan bubble is good. Whatever. Like,
Right.
um, and they were like, yeah, we've changed our system now, so like that's not a static number anymore, and individual supers can have charge times, like cooldown times. Like Golden Gun has the 3 minute one, Knives has 2 minutes, uh, so Solar Hammers has 5 minutes, like et cetera, et cetera. And I was like, what? I was like, this is just a variable. This is like programming 101.
Right.
Each thing has each super is a class, and that class can have variables inside of it, and one of them could just be like charge time X minutes. How are you just now being able to do that? And they were like, yeah, we
Right.
redid everything so it can do that. And I'm like,
Redid what though? It takes 5 minutes to make this change.
I was like, well, that's the problem. It probably didn't because they've done so much spaghetti code now
Mm.
that they have to fix everything and go through and see what breaks and see what breaks and see what breaks. I was like, from scratch, I could program that in 5 minutes. I could literally make character, super, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and it works. But they took so long to actually do that, and it's like one of the biggest things they teach you when I got my degree for programming was like when you program, you've got to always be thinking out ahead of what your project's going to be and what you need to do now. You lay the groundwork ahead of time so that later it gets easier and faster to do things with it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not necessarily their fault because I think they were literally planning on Destiny 2 being like a few years and then completely tossed, right? So, but that means that when they first set up Destiny 2, they were shortcutting things and taking shortcuts, taking cheap tricks, doing things maybe not the best way, but to get it done. And then it came back to bite them really badly. Um, but yeah, I was losing my mind when they were like, we finally added variables so we can control the charge times. And I'm like, you're fucking kidding me that this is like, and they were saying it was a game breaking. It was revolutionizing the way Bungie's engine worked. And I was like, you motherfuckers, you added
Are you
variables.
programming
Like,
this on a graphic calculator?
yeah, I was like, you've got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
Oh
Oh
man,
man, that's great.
just
Let's
yeah.
bending back into Halo though. So after this
Oh
big,
yeah, sorry.
that's all right. After this big announcement about more delays here, it was probably like a day after this announcement, or not even. Andrew Witz, who is the Halo's Infinite's lead multiplayer lead, announced that he was leaving the studio, and they
Yeah, he stepped away.
didn't really give any details, but he just said that he was going to take time off to relax and recharge, which is not. I mean, there's you can read between the lines on that one. These people are
Yeah.
probably being overworked, and I'm sure he's super stressed out.
Well, I think
I get it. Like,
yeah. And this isn't like this has happened before. When Halo first got its delay, one of the like the lead writers left, remember? And they had to bring in one of the old Halo dudes from like Halo 3 era,
mhm.
and he became the project manager for it or something. And he was like scrambling to get this thing working. He was like, "Oh yeah," because they weren't going to delay, and he was like, "We have to delay the project," and they were like,
Sure.
"No," and he's like, "It's not going to work unless we delay it." And they were like, "All right, fine, I guess," and
They
he
ended up
like
having to
forced them to do it.
change like a shit ton of the story at the last minute because like all the story notes and stuff were gone.
Yeah, because this was one of those articles Jason Schreier did, one of his deep dives where he talked about this, and I'm pretty sure he mentioned, yeah, by the summer of 2019, Halo was in like crisis mode. They cut 2/3 of the planned game. Like people had been like left with nothing to do. People had been left with like I don't know what to do.
Hmm.
Like it was the same problem you saw with Anthem. Anthem, you had like conflicting developers on the management team, where like one guy would be like, "We're not doing this," and the other guy would be like, "No, no, we are." And then the studio, the actual team, would be like, "Am I making this or not? Am I making this function? Am I making this item? Am I making this model? Am I doing this texture?" And they would be like, "Do I do this?" And then one manager would be like, "No," and they'd be like, "Okay, what do you want me to do?" And he'd be like, "Just wait." And the other manager would be like, "Make that," and then they would throw it out because they didn't need it, and it was like a complete clusterfuck.
Yeah.
Um, and I guess they were saying that was sort of happening at Microsoft at this team for Halo Infinite at 343 was happening where like they had to cut a bunch of stuff, they had to downsize everything, they had to fix problems that they didn't think were going to happen. Like by the time the game was almost ready to launch, they still hadn't figured out how to have. Actually, yeah, you still didn't even have co-op in the Halo campaign. They never fixed it. Because remember, one of the big things they were stuck on was they couldn't figure out how to handle multiple players in the open world together
Still broken,
with
she says.
different levels of like your quest progression is different than my quest progression. Can I bring you to go do these quests? Can you not come with me, or do I have to do yours with you? Like,
Stuff
whose
that
mission are we? Like, they didn't have any of that sorted.
stuff that Borderlands figured out in
Yeah, right.
2007.
And I guess they never figured it out because it's not there. The co-op just doesn't exist in online co-op.
Right.
So I guess they never figured it out, and they just didn't do anything with it.
Yeah. Yeah. So his like whole Twitter tweet, Jesus, he just said today was my last day at 343 Industries. Usually, when you're announcing a departure from a company, you do it well in advance, in social media. So I'm not saying that this guy walked out, but I'm sure I can I can definitely say that it's not a good look. Um, there's a lot of
Hmm.
stuff to read between the lines.
Oh,
So it's been an
there
honor.
was.
Go ahead.
Oh no, you go ahead.
Okay, so it's been an honor leading the MP design team over these years. Thank you for all Halo fans and your feedback over these years. We made this game for you. Um, yeah, I can read the jade in that. Like, yeah, sometimes the nuance doesn't travel very well over the internet, but whew,
For sure.
you can read what's going on.
Like Claire just said in the chat, she's got a status report. Things, hitbox melees are broken, floor glitches randomly, and you fall out of the map. Like in a published, finished game. Like this had a beta and everything, and it got
Finished.
put into like produced, and it's been like 6 months since then.
Yeah.
Um,
Like I said to you off stream, I was like, I would kill to see and play through the entire offering of what they had before that
what they had.
E3, before they
Oh
went
my
back to the
god,
drawing board. I would kill to see what they had,
dude, I
because
couldn't even imagine.
what in God's name? That was 6 months from launch. Like,
But like,
what were they going to put
yeah.
out?
And then like even like so I found other tweets from Jason after the article that were things that didn't make it in the article,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like the tool set they were using was called Faber, and Faber's from like the original Halo. The tool set is so old; it's been around for so long, and it's so difficult to use now. Just like the Frostbite engine is not good for making Anthem, the Faber engine is not good for making a current day Halo anymore. And they actually considered switching to Unreal for months, and then they never did though. They just kept using the bad tools.
That could be a
Um,
migration and leftover stuff from like Marathon.
right for all, yeah. I mean, um, delayed multiple times. The original early plan was to release multiplayer in 2019 and campaign in 2020, and that got scrapped. That didn't even make it to the public though. But they had to change that internally because that also was they were going to put out the multiplayer in 2019. Imagine what that would have been like 2 years before it came out. What would it have been? It doesn't work now. Like Claire's saying right now, like the multiplayer doesn't even work. What would it have been 2 years early? Um, and then they were saying one of the biggest problems at Halo Infinite development was labor. A large chunk of 343 workers were on contracts and couldn't stay longer than 18 months due to regulations from Microsoft, which means that full-time
Yep.
promotions were rare, which meant that the studio was cycling
Constantly
workers. You would have
cycling
people come
workers.
in, those dudes would take over your
Holy
system, they'd
shit.
learn your code, they'd learn the whole program, the engine, they'd learn all the base, they'd be able to work with it, and then poof, that dude's gone in the wind. He's got to train
So
another person before he leaves because he's gone.
so in 18
And
months, which is typically what an employer would consider someone 100% proficient at their job after
mhm,
18 months,
just getting up to
when
speed,
they
right? Like
just hit that
just being,
proficiency
yeah.
of being like a peak efficient employee, they're gone.
Yep, they're gone.
That's insane.
And that happens every 18 months, that kind of cycle. So it's like, what do you even, how do you even have consistent work delivered? It'd be like asking a person to paint a picture, being like, hey, I want you to paint me this really awesome picture. Like I'm talking really nice, good, huge fucking paint board. What do you call that? That you paint on?
Canvas?
Like really stupid right now. Yeah,
I
canvas.
get it,
Thank
dude.
you.
I get brain farts all the time on air, man.
Well, like, dude, I'll just look at a thing and I'm like, oh my god, it's like a one-syllable word and I should know it, but why can't I think of it? But like, oh yeah, give me a giant canvas and I want you to paint this giant painting, and you're like, yeah, great. And they hand you a bunch of high-quality paints, and they're like, yeah, well, in this case with the Faber engine, I guess they handed you like crayons or something, and they were like, here's your crayons, here's your thing, paint me like the Sistine Chapel, and then as soon as you start, they're like, you have an hour, and then the next person has to come in and pick up where you left off, and we're not going to tell them what you were making. They have to kind of just keep going from whatever.
Right.
Like, okay, great,
God damn.
because whatever
That's
work you
scary.
did is just, yeah, it's insane, dude.
And they I love when people are like, they try to separate 343 from Microsoft, like, oh, 343 makes calls their own shots. Microsoft has nothing to do with that. It's like Microsoft sets the budgets, and we see a perfect example of this. Microsoft set the
Yeah, that
rules
labor
for the
rule.
employment.
Yep.
So
Because I'm sure 343, if they could, would just keep their whole team
of course.
permanently. They would not keep people on 18-month contract. No person anywhere at that department wants to look at a programmer who's been with you for 18 months, who's getting to speed and doing well and proficient with the engine, and be like, okay, I want him gone, and I want a replacement for him. Like, what? No way, dude. Absolutely not.
Right. All
Insane.
all to save money so they don't have to pay these contractors decently or offer benefits and shit. That's wild. What a fucking shitbag company.
But it's like, it goes back to Microsoft. They have these problems, dude. They have these problems with like like when they, like you said, like they keep going back to resurrect old titles because it's the only way they get, like, their hype now is like the nostalgia. You know what I mean? They don't really do IPs that are new that people are excited for.
Right.
Like, or they buy third parties that make already existing franchises that people like, and then they're like, okay, now we have this. Now we bought Bethesda. Now we bought Senua Sacrifice Studio. And now we bought
And a lot of these
whatever,
studios
whatever.
are kind of Byzantine and facing the same problems where they really haven't evolved
Delivered
past
good
game
lately.
engines.
Sure.
Dude, they've bought in all
Dude,
these.
look at Fallout. Look at Fallout. Fallout 4 had bugs from Fallout 3 that had been fixed by the modding community. So when Fallout 4 came out, there was problems with
All this
that
shit was
game
back.
that was back. People were like, wait a minute, wait a minute. Fallout 3 had these problems. They were fixed by the modding community. How do you guys have these problems now? How are these bugs here? You guys could have literally just used the fixes that the modders came up with.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, these problems were solved already by your community even.
Doing
How
it
is it a problem
for
now?
free.
Yeah, doing it for free. Like, and you don't have to like rip off their work. You could just see like, oh, that's how they fixed that problem. What could I do to make that not a problem from the get-go? But they didn't do a new engine and new problem from the get-go. They just took the old thing and said it works, slapped it in 16 times, whatever, and then here we go. Now we have the same problems we had in 4 that we had in 3. And then I think 76 had that problems. There were things in 76 that were present from 4 that never got fixed. And they were like, yeah, whatever. And it was like, come on, guys, come on. Like, and that's the same thing with the Halo. It's like, how can you guys take a franchise like Fallout, go to 4, which I liked, but a lot of people didn't, so I'll say that, and then go to 76 and like bury the franchise? And it's like, dude, you guys could have made money on this for the rest of your lives, putting out mid-tier cookie cutter Fallout games, and you
Mm-hmm.
guys burned it.
Look
Insane.
all these studios they've bought, and we have yet to see 30 seconds of a new fucking gameplay out of Bethesda yet.
Oh yeah,
Out of
yeah.
Starfield, Elder Scrolls
Starfield is
6.
Starfield is like you know. It's funny you mentioned that actually because Wizards of the Coast, the guys who make Magic,
Mm-hmm.
they've been the last couple of years they've been on this trend where like they make trailers for their new sets, right? And
They do the still images, but they kind of like bend them and
they do
animate them a
yeah,
little
they
bit.
take still images and they like it'll be
That's
like
what
a
the
soldier on
Starfield
a
trailer
card and it'll
was.
be like or
Right.
whatever, and it's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
and that's what the Starfield trailer was. It
Right.
was like, oh my god,
Yes. I'm glad
come
I'm not the
on,
only person that
guys.
noticed that. I love
I
that. That's why we're friends,
I
man.
was like, guys,
So
come on.
yeah, like people are on Twitter making excuses for that, and I'm like, this is not a good look, guys. This is not great. And they're like, well, they do this all the time. Bethesda does this all the time. I'm like, not release trailers. I was like, they're
Right.
famous for their fucking trailers because
Yeah,
of the whole
absolutely
lead
they
up with
are.
Fallout trailers. It's always
Yep.
that like slow pan through something and then boom, Fallout logo. I'm like,
Yep, absolutely.
get the fuck out of here. And like we haven't seen and all they said that they Bethesda always keeps stuff under wraps, and it's like there was screenshots of Oblivion and Game Informer over a year before it came out. um
Dude, they want to talk
so
about that. You know who does that right? The Final Fantasy 14 and 16 team. They do that right. Because you know how that works with them? No,
mhm,
think about it. They announced 16. They show us the one trailer of it because it's working and they know what their game's going to be and they've got there's combat, there's trailer, there's everything, right? And then they don't say shit about that game. They tell you it'll come out when it's ready.
right.
We'll give you a date when we have a date. And even this last year, at the end of last year, Yoshi came out and he was like, we don't have an actual date yet because we have to delay the game a little bit. So it's going to be delayed into 2022. We'll give you more when we have it. But I'm not going to show you partial footage and I'm not going to give you half trailers. I'm going to wait until the game's about to come out and I'll give you one more trailer like the month before. And that'll be that. And it'll be
Mhm.
just like it's supposed to be. I tell you I'm making this project. We show you what we've got done. And then I tell you the project's almost done and we show you what we've got done. And that's it. No
Right.
bullshit, no repeated like, yeah, keep it going, keep it going. Like they do that with their 14 patches too. They'll be like, we just had our live letter where they were like, here's all the stuff that's coming in 6.1. They're not gonna like every week trickle through stuff. They're gonna be like, it's almost here, and
Yeah.
then they'll give us the trailer, and then once the trailer comes out, it's coming. You won't have to deal with this garbage about
Yeah.
like you see this and like Elden Ring had this problem where like Elden Ring was like we announced Elden Ring. It was like a dark screen and it said George R. R. Martin from Souls, from Soft, whatever, Elden
Mhm.
Ring. And people were like, oh my God. And then it won Game of the Year for like 2 years or something, like most anticipated Game of the Year for like 2 years running. And we hadn't and they were just showing us like Elden Ring is coming.
Yeah.
We didn't like have a trailer until like last year, the end of last year somewhere or whatever.
Hmm. Yeah, I
And it
would
was like,
say
okay.
if we don't see a gameplay trailer of Starfield this E3, I would be very concerned about
Absolutely.
what kind of product they're going to get, because they're planning on releasing this as for holiday 2022. If I'm correct, I'm pretty sure I am.
I think
Um,
so.
but let me see. I'll look that up real quick.
You think we're just gonna get like it's gonna be Fallout 4, but like it's literally the opening from Fallout 4, except like you're in space.
Yeah, they said November 11th. So right in
Like,
time for holiday season. Oh yeah,
remember how
dude, it's
Fallout 4
totally gonna be
started?
Fallout in space, 100%.
Dude, but do you remember how Fallout 4 started? Where like you're in your house and like you have your wife and your kid, and then the guy knocks on the door and he's like, "You should get to the Fallout shelter." Like,
Hmm.
how much you want to bet? Like that game starts and it's literally just Fallout 4, and the guy knocks on your door and he's like, "You need to get to the space rocket," and then like you go to the space rocket and you get
Space
in the space
dome,
rocket, the
right?
space dome. Like, you need to get to the Starfield, and then like you like go to the Starfield, and it's just where the vault was in 4.
Right.
Yeah. Oh man.
Open up your not Pit Boy and
Oh my god.
generic wrist control pad.
Yeah, your wrist. You open up your wrist rocket.
Wrist rocket. Oh god. Well, did we beat the shit out of this story or not? I don't know.
I just. This goes back to what I said before,
I gotta
though,
plug my
about
headset in
my
here.
problem with my minor gripe with Destiny or things like that. That becomes a major gripe with Halo. It's the same core thing, though. This
Sure.
is a franchise I enjoyed and I cared about, and it sucks to watch it die and or collapse.
Oh,
I
100%.
wouldn't say it's dead, but like watching it go through this is heartbreaking. This is like every time we get a Kingdom Hearts announcement, I guess. But
Right.
still, but still, this is significantly worse. Like at least,
This is where Claire and I met. We've been BFFs ever
yeah,
since. So I
yeah,
mean,
yeah,
like, so
absolutely.
Halo. I mean, this is where I've met friends, made friends on, and the same with Destiny. I wouldn't know you without Destiny. So
Yeah,
of course,
absolutely.
of course, these games mean a lot to me because I've met good friends from them. So, um,
Oh, fun fact, and I
yeah.
don't want to be that guy, but I have to take my shot here. Kingdom Hearts 3, a game that a lot of people in the Kingdom Hearts community said was like all right at best. It wasn't like a showstopper like they expected.
Mm,
Still sitting in a user score of 8.0. That has a higher user score than all of Elden Ring. Just had to do it. Sorry.
that's fair. That's fair.
Next time someone's like, Elden Ring is a masterpiece, I'm going to be like, Kingdom Hearts 3 was apparently 2.2 points higher on the masterpiece scale.
Nice. All right.
No, I was actually surprised to see that score, because I know that at launch a lot of people were like, it didn't have Final Fantasy, it wasn't what I wanted. And it was like, it was fine. It was easy, but it was
Mhm.
fine. Maybe Kingdom Hearts should. Maybe people will complain about Kingdom Hearts not having a hard mode, so I can tell them to get bad. Does that work?
Get bad.
I don't know.
Oh man. All right. Well, next up, this is our last big story for the night. So Nvidia servers were compromised over the last week,
Oh,
and yeah, this is like a lot of stuff. Like dev kits were stolen. I don't know if source code was stolen or not, but they basically came out and said they were completely compromised. So everything from employee files to all kinds of shit. Yeah, it's not great. But one of the biggest leaks, of course, and I'm sure Nintendo is fucking pissed about this, was files for the predecessor to the current Switch. Now, whether that would be a Switch Pro or a sequeling console beyond the Switch, we don't know at this point. We do see that it is being built around a new mobile chip, which is the kind of the predecessor to the Integra chip, that the T1 Tegra chip that the Switch uses, being basically what it was an experiment for Nvidia, which basically reignited and um, kept this Tegra chip development from dying. Was the Switch. So I guess there's
yeah,
a lot of files about the T239, which is the new Tegra chip that they're talking about, and this also had a bunch of information about DLSS, which is Nvidia's algorithm for up doing resolution.
like upscaling or
Yeah,
something. Yeah.
upscaling. I'm sorry,
No,
upscaling
you're good, dude. I did it with painting
I know,
paint
dude. I do it
paper.
all the time. So, um, yeah. So it's I'm sure again, I'm sure Nintendo's fucking pissed off about this, but it does answer a lot of questions about Nintendo's plans.
Sure.
Because obviously, we were expecting a Switch Pro last holiday season, and we got the Switch OLED instead, which really wasn't a Pro. It was kind of an addressment of all the issues of the original Switch, if for lack of better terms. Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah,
A quality of
that's
life and change at best.
right. So not much really about this, but I guess like the hackers were kind of like slow dripping information to kind of like show Nvidia that this is a real thing, and I guess they were
Sure.
ransoming it out to try and get some money out of it, which I don't think Nvidia has dealt with or not yet. So and the thing is, like, paying out these hackers, you don't know if they're gonna honor their word. You don't know if they have
Right.
more, or if they're even going to still get it, have it stolen from them. So it's a lot of the time these companies, we see this happen, they don't negotiate with them, and that's just kind of been like a
Sure.
flatline policy. So
Yeah. I have a question. Did you make this graphic?
a little bit.
It's incredible.
Thanks.
Did you find Sad Mario, or did you have to flip his mouth or
I
something?
did find Side Mario.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. I was like, because I could totally see that being something where you just had to put it together, like his face back together. I was
No.
like, tell me you were like photoshopping Mario's face back together to make him sad Mario.
No,
Oh
that's
man,
OG. But yeah, I slapped that together.
that's fantastic.
So
I love it.
yeah, so that's obviously we're going to see a lot more of this, I would assume, in the next week, and of course, we'll keep updated on this as well as this story unfolds. I know we've got this is big stuff here, so whether or not we're allowed to talk about it on air beyond this without getting on Nintendo's radar, that's a whole other story. So
Well, it's interesting too because if I'm not mistaken, Nvidia was also the one that had the other leak where a bunch of game titles were leaked
yep.
that turned into like some of it was verified, where like we got the Chrono Cross remake was
Yeah.
spoiled basically because we had heard about it from the leak or some
Mm-hmm.
other. What else? I know there was like FF16 was in there, but that came out after 16 was announced, and so
Uh-huh.
was Forspoken. But again, after Forspoken was announced already. But that means that it was like a legitimate thing already. They had just since announced some of the games, and then yeah, Chrono Cross was in there, and we were like, dude, really? Chrono Cross? I think it was Chrono Cross and a 9 remake or
Mm-hmm.
remaster. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm interested to see
We're
because
in
I
there.
don't think anything has been like blatantly not true at this point with these leak lists.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. I think most of it, because I mean, of course, some of the stuff that was in that could have been didn't actually get developed or something,
Sure.
but there hasn't been any actual like lies. I just saw my closet door open behind me in camera.
Oh,
It was my
nice.
cat.
We're gonna put that on
Like,
TikTok, dude. Paranormal.
cat.
Boo!
I don't know if she goes in that closet. She just goes in there.
Cats like to hang out in little spaces like that, man. That's what they do.
I just gave myself the. I remember like one of the times you were on stream and like your door opened behind you because like your daughter was coming in and it was like, oh
Yeah, dude.
no.
Oh my god, I remember that. And
So I
like I
was
see
like, I
the
just had
chat.
that moment.
The chat is like, look behind you, and then she's like, God damn it. Oh
Yeah.
man.
I just had mine with my closet just swung open. I'm like, why is my closet?
Oh man.
That's insane.
What's your cat's name?
Her name is Tuna. It's the name that she came with.
Yes.
Came
Nice.
equipped automatically. I couldn't change it. Disappointing.
That's awesome. I
I'm gonna
think
have to take her to naming one.
we got our cats. They were named Guacamole and Avocado from
Oh,
the we didn't keep that. Um,
fair.
but yeah, they're cool. You adopted too?
Yeah, she
Awesome.
was about 9 months when we met her.
Hmm.
We went to like so our Walmart. We have two WalMarts near us, and one of them's like over towards the highway, and it has like an anime shop, like a K-pop shop. It has like food places and all kinds of weird stuff.
Oh, like in a plaza,
And
not in the
yeah, yeah.
Walmart.
So
Okay.
while yeah. So while we were leaving there one time, we went down and we went to the K-pop store and we looked at stuff there. And the next store was like a pet store, and we were like, maybe we'll look and see what they have because maybe we'll get something for the kids to take care of because like a fish would be easy for them to take care of and like get them some responsibility, but also let them have something cool to enjoy and not like a toy or like a video game, but like
Hmm.
So we were like, okay, we'll go look, and we went and looked and we looked at the fish, and I learned that koi fish live for like 75 years, and decided I have to become an emperor of koi fish, I guess, because that's cool. But regardless, and we're looking around, and we went to the back corner, and they had like the cats that need homes,
Sure.
and the kids love cats, and Leisha, she's allergic to cats usually, and not
Mm.
like bad, but like she'll have like the sniffly if their
Sure.
hair is everywhere. So I have to keep up on that. And like even she was like, all right, let's go home and look at the list of cats. And we looked at the list of cats, and Tuna was one of the ones we liked, and she was there. So we were like, okay, well she's here. So we went and saw her, and she was a scaredy cat. She didn't want to come out. She didn't want to socialize because that's
Cat.
um, she had been in a home before and then brought back. So I
Oh,
feel like she was kind of burned, right? Like she had
right.
that like I had a home and then I didn't have a home. I'm
Emotional
not sure how
attachment
much
kind of
that carries through,
situation.
but
Yeah,
like
that's abandonment
right,
issues. That sucks.
right. So we took her here, and she at first was like hiding in
Your audio cut out.
corners. Oh, am I good now?
Or did my headset turn off? That's probably my headset that turned off. Let me try it again. Hold on 1 second. Yeah, so I don't know why it is with my headset. Like, if I charge it, it just randomly turns off.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, that's my
Huh.
fault. I apologize. Your audio's fine.
No problem. Um, so she was like very like we got her like a bed thing that was like a cave kind of bed that she can go in,
Hmm.
and she would spend most of her time in there. She'd let us pet her and stuff while she was in there, but she was very like and it's so funny because I kept telling because my daughter especially was like she doesn't like us, and I'm like it's not that, she's just got to take time to get used to people,
Sure,
like you got
acclimation
to be
with
patient
cats
with
is
her.
a whole thing.
And dude, she went from like a couple weeks like walking around the room and laying in the bed with us and being normal with us in there, and then coming out here the next 2 weeks. And now like we're like 2 months later or whatever, she
Hmm.
like runs the house. She runs around from room to room chirping and meowing at everybody.
Nice.
She gets up on stuff, my couch. She gets up on my computer setup and just sleeps on my mouse. And I'm like, okay,
That's amazing.
like,
I wish my
and
cats would do
what's
that.
dude? It's wild is that she's mostly got attached to me though because I'm up at
Hmm.
night after everyone goes to bed. So it's like everything's quiet and empty except me,
Right.
and I'm usually like in a chair. So like no joke, if I get up right now and go sit at my kitchen table, she'll follow me
Hmm.
and she'll chirp at me and she'll try and get up on the table and stuff. And then if I go from there back to here, she'll follow me
Sure.
and she'll try and get in this chair. But if I go to like the couch and lay down or something, she won't.
Hmm.
If I go to like my bedroom, she won't follow me unless she has to go in there to like go to the bathroom or something.
Interesting.
But if I sit in my kitchen chair or the computer chair, it's like fair game to like attack me and be like, I need affection. And I'm like, okay, I guess.
That's cool. You're like her nighttime nocturnal. That's what cats are most, not like necessarily nocturnal, but that's when they're most active is at night. And
Yep.
that's, yeah, you got the you got your nighttime buddy now. That's awesome. My
Yep.
cat
She's
is going through a thing now. It's like where she has to sleep on me, or she has to be like touching me somehow as she sleeps, and
yeah.
it's just the thing she's doing right now. Claire says one of my cats is very chill and just cuddles all day. My other cat is demon from hell who climbs the curtains and bounces off the walls. Yeah, it's kind of how ours are. Like 2 o'clock in the morning, no fail. Fucking cat Olympics every goddamn night.
Yeah. The cat Olympics. Oh my god. Insane. But no, she's awesome. She's a great cat now that she's opening up, and it's really cool. And
That's
I
cool.
feel I'm very happy about the whole situation because it's one thing to like get a cat because we want a cat, but it feels better to like have gotten a cat who also needed better people, you know?
Right, right.
Like you don't usually think about that. I mean, I feel like most people don't really think about that until it's like after the fact, but it was cool that we did something nice for her too, and she's got a better life because of it.
Sure. Yeah, that's definitely it.
Doing cat activism, I guess.
That's cool. Well, all the big stories we have. Did I press the right button? I didn't. Get rid of that slideshow. Yeah, yeah. So we have some upcoming game releases, and we are getting into a big chunky release schedule again. So we're gonna break them up week by week again. So between now and next week, we have Ashwalkers coming out on the Switch, March 10th. We have the Aztec Forgotten Gods coming out March 10th as well. That's going to be on the PS5, Xbox Series X and S, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. And we have the big one, Chocobo GP, Final Fantasies or Square's racing game. So
Yep.
I'm excited to see that. That's only coming out on the Switch March 10th. I thought for sure that would come out on the PlayStation too.
I really thought it was PlayStation as
Wow,
well, but it isn't. It's weird. I'm
that's
fine with
crazy.
it,
I'm
but
fine with it too.
I was really surprised about that.
Yeah, yeah. Um, We have Submerged Hidden Depths. That's coming out on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, PC, March 10th. And then we have Workshop Simulator. If you like fixing birdhouses and touching wood in general, we have that coming out on March 10th, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC. Did I get them? Did I get them?
Is that is that the game? Was that the game that I saw Moosh playing, where like you had like furniture that you could like sand it and then like
I think that
paint it or
was
lacquer it or
House
something?
Flipper, but it's kind of
Oh,
in
was that?
this
Oh, that was House
same
Flipper.
vein,
Yeah,
of
same idea.
games. Yeah.
Because I
Um,
was like, that was one of those like I'm
right.
not interested, but I could totally get the appeal of like that menial task kind of game where you're just like, I like what is it,
Sure.
Power Wash or Sims like that, where you're like just doing a thing and it's just it's
Right.
not mindless, but like you can
Was
kind of get in the zone with it and just go.
Yeah, it's just kind of like a just chill, relaxed game. There's a game that
Yeah.
was Unpacking. It was just like
Oh yeah,
a
yeah,
cell
yeah.
shady game where you're just in a room and you're just putting stuff on shelves and organizing how you want. Um,
Yep.
it's not for me. I actually kind of I'm intrigued. I want to try it,
I get it. Yeah, I'm in the
but
same boat. I get it. I don't know if
right,
I want to like
right,
buy it and do that, but I totally get the appeal of doing it in
right.
general.
And it's all like just like kind of like lo-fi chill. Like I think that Unpacking game is all like lo-fi soundtrack, and it's just I get it. It's cool.
Sure.
Cozy
Oh
games.
yeah.
Like my friend Very Mary Andy. She does a lot of cozy streaming. I get it. It's a whole genre. All right. So anyway, next we have Young Souls. That's coming to PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. Obviously, if you're on the Xbox Series X or S or PS5, you can play it on there as well. That's coming out March 10th. And that's also getting a limited run release for physical copy. So if you don't mind waiting like 8 fucking months to get it, you can do that.
Mm.
And
I think that's
go ahead.
that one's also on. That one's also one of the ones that's coming
That was a Game
to
Pass
Game
game.
Pass.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah, it's a
Yeah.
Game Pass
So there
title.
you go. You can play it, and that'll be your holdover until you get your physical copy from Limited Run. There you go.
Sure.
Not sponsored, but I wouldn't say no.
Yeah,
WWE
right.
2K22 that is coming to PS5, Xbox Series X and S, PS4, Xbox One, and PC March 11th. So that is what we have for this week's release schedule. So there's a little something for everyone in there. I'll definitely be picking up that Chocobo GP. Oh, another one too, Wonder Boy collection that is on strictly limited games. That's like a $50-$60 game, but that's going to have the entire Wonder Boy collection on there as well. And I think it's going to be a mishmash of like you can play like the 8-bit version of the old ones or like a remastered version of them. So if you're into the Wonder Boy games, that's there too. I was talking to Claire about that earlier because I thought she played them, but it was Owlboy that I was thinking about.
Mm.
um, and then we got this day in gaming history for January 30th. Tales of Fantasia released 16 years ago on the Game Boy Advance. One of my favorite handheld hold Jesus Christ, dude. Hold portable
One of my
console.
favorite holy hand grenades.
One of my favorite portable consoles. Uh 16 years ago. Yeah, I got mine right here, reshelled, rescreened, and all that shit. So I'm actually going to be doing a unhinged SP mod. So if anyone wants to tune in for that, I'll probably live stream it or just slap it on YouTube or something. We have Army of Two that came out 14 years ago on Xbox
Wow.
360 and PS3. And
Jesus.
we also have Pokemon Black and White came out on the DS 11 years ago. And if you want to feel a
Really in
little,
March?
what's that?
In
Yes.
March?
Yeah,
Huh.
Pokemon will sometimes do a March release, sometimes they do a November release.
It's so weird
Um,
to not be like a holiday release. Yeah.
mhm.
Hmm.
And then if I haven't made you feel old yet, Mass Effect 3 came out a decade ago today. So if
Ugh.
anyone remembers the amazing blue, yellow, and red endings, or blue, green, and red endings,
Oh
um,
yeah. Here, actually, I've got the remote control right here. This lets you pick your ending. See, the RGB. You get to like you just push the button for which morality you
nice.
want.
You got the pink DLC, dude? Hell yeah.
The
I mean,
pink DLC. Yeah.
I remember the fallout of that game, not to use that as a pun. The
Yeah.
I someone got they ordered a bunch of red, blue, and green icing cupcakes, like thousands of them, and sent them to Electronic Arts or
That's amazing.
EA Studio at that point. It was hilarious. So Mm.
I'd like to address this statement to Claire.
Mhm.
I've never played a Mass Effect game, so there's that.
What the fuck? Every day I learn something new about you, and it pisses me off.
Listen. I have a backlog. Okay, it's not pretty.
Oh man, I love it. No, that's great. I would say if you have not played it, and this goes to anyone, 100% check it out. It is
After Chrono
so
Trigger, how's she
good.
gonna call me out like
After
that?
Chrono Trigger, boy, yeah, dude. So,
Listen, as soon as this podcast is over, I will re-download Chrono Trigger, and we can make that like a tomorrow night thing or something. If my computer doesn't die on me and it's being nice, then I'll do that tomorrow.
we got through this whole show, and you haven't had an issue yet.
You're
No,
correct. Yeah.
yeah. Now we got to stress test
Um,
Destiny 2 on it. That was one of the games that just refused to work, wasn't it?
dude, yeah, you know what? And it's been running a lot smoother now that I did the reset, and I'm
Mhm.
wondering there's a Windows version of Destiny 2, and I was gonna download it and just be like, I wonder if it works. And maybe it was something else that was having a problem, but I
Mhm.
guess we'll find out. I will probably re-download Chrono Trigger, Final Fantasy 14, Destiny 2, and like Hollow Knight or something
Cool.
for those random times that I want to do that. Um, yeah, dude, I don't know. I kind of was thinking I should play the Metroid Dread mode, but that sounds like a nightmare.
That's a rage quit, dude.
That's
More power to it.
yeah.
That's just not for
But I mean,
me.
to be fair, I did Steel Soul and Hollow Knight, so obviously I
You
can
did.
handle some of that stuff. But a one hit would be woof. Oh
Claire
boy.
said it's the little PC that could. The switch to PC for Destiny was amazing for me 100%. I agree. It's a really
Yeah.
good. Now they did update their engine, the lighting engine and stuff in that game. So even
Yeah.
like on the PS4, it looked pretty impressive. On the PS5, I would say the PS5 and the PC are almost side by side. The PC kind of coming out a little bit higher just because you can pull higher frame rates and shit without sacrificing graphics. Um,
Sure.
yeah, it's definitely looking really good for
Oh,
a game that's
I will
showing
say,
some age.
that reminds me. So, not related necessarily to game releases, but um, there is a demo on the Switch Shop today. Right now, you can go grab it for the new Kirby and the Forgotten Land.
Ah, yes.
Um, it has solo play and co-op play. I don't know if that's online co-op. That
Hmm,
I couldn't tell you, but it does at least have single end co-op. So it might just be like one Switch or something for all I know.
cool.
But there it is out there, and it's 3 whole levels actually, from what I
Hmm.
read. So it's a pretty decent sized demo, and you can get your hands on mouthful mode and see if it's the mouthful that you want. I'm sorry.
Mouthful Nemode was my nickname in college.
um, and the other thing was that I don't know if have I ever told you about or have you ever seen the game Faith?
Faith?
Yeah.
I think you've brought it up before.
Okay. So the developer of Faith posted on their itch.io and said
Hmm.
that 3 should be out this year.
Huh.
Because they made a 1, they made a 2, and there was a demo for 3.
Well, it's a trilogy, right?
It's a trilogy, yep.
Okay, I think I remember you saying something about that. Yeah, that's cool. That's a game I kind of want to look into.
So I've decided that out of the goodness of my heart, I'm going to make you stream Faith because it's awesome.
Nice.
Um,
I'm there for it.
if I'm not mistaken, you picked up Triangle Strategy yesterday. Oh, that's on my list too. I gotta play that. I love stuff like that, tactics and everything. Um, and I've heard it got really good. Everyone said it was good and it's
Nice.
worth playing. But
I'm
and
gonna
then
get
Claire
it,
says
but I'll
she's
probably
liking it.
wait for a sale on that one. Not that I don't want to play it.
Yeah.
It's just that I'm looking down the path of games that I'm already committed to, and I'm like, poof, this
Well,
is
that's
gonna
my
be
problem, dude. I
expensive.
already have so many I want to play, and like
Hmm.
I'm kind of prioritizing playing Kirby next because I know it's going to be fun. It's going to be like Odyssey again, where I'm having a good time with it.
Hell yeah.
Um, so I think everything else is kind of backburnered until I finish Chrono Trigger and do the Kirby game.
Yeah, I gotta get
But
Arceus done, at least the storyline done for me.
yeah, I'm at the point now where like the to finish the next story quest would be to like finish the Pokédex completely, like catch everything.
Hmm.
So I'm getting there. It's not so bad because they're doing like you get side missions, and the side missions are like go catch this, go catch this, go catch this. So they're kind of helping you breadcrumb where to get the things that you're missing, unless you're
Sure.
missing things that common shit that you just didn't grab on your playthrough. And that's the harder part is figuring out like, okay, I never grabbed Cherim at all. So like, where the fuck does this live? You know what I mean?
Right.
But like, in general, they're doing a pretty good job of making you do it.
Oh,
There's a
cool.
lot of content. Yeah, yeah. It's Arceus has a lot of content. It's pretty good. It's
Hmm.
better than I expected. I
That's
did not
cool.
expect it to be. You struggled with the boss battle, dude. I struggled with the last boss, the very last boss, gave me a hard time, and I had to go level and kind of change my plan a little bit for him because it gets pretty tough at the end. The curve spikes right at the end. It does.
I heard that Avalog's pretty rough. That's where I'm at right now. I just got the Braviary
Yeah, yeah, he
locked.
can be tough
Hmm.
for sure. Um,
I'm ready for it.
well, the because the end of it actually was kind of like it was kind of, I don't want to say bullshit because it's not that bad, but it was kind of frustrating actually. The ending where like you fight a dude at the end. I won't spoil anything,
Hmm.
but you fight a dude at the end who has a full team of 6, right? Like you do, and I think they're all in the mid to high 70s, so they're tough.
Okay.
And then after you beat him, you fight one more Pokemon, and when you KO that Pokemon, you fight one more Pokemon.
Oh man,
So it kind of feels like
it's got that. It's
unfair.
got that Final
Like,
Fantasy. You thought that was my
yeah,
final
yeah,
form?
yeah.
No, this is my final
That's
form.
exactly what it does to you. You beat the dude, and you're like, I beat the dude, and he's like, oh no, you beat me.
Yeah.
Another Pokemon, and you're like, God damn it, because your Pokemon are still injured or knocked out or whatever. And you're like, okay, and then you deal with that thing, and then it's like you thought it was over, and you're like, come on, dude, like this is like an 8-on-6 at this point. Like this does not feel okay.
Yeah, I had that with I remember
So
like
it's
Final
tough.
Fantasy VIII had like I think Ultimecia had like 4 forms,
Hmm.
and I got to a point where it's just like I was like, oh, I beat it. And she said, nope, this is my final form. I'm like, motherfucker. I was just like, come
Yeah,
on.
that was the only, I think, low point that took me out of the game for a minute because not only did that happen where it was like I did the thing, I won the fight, but no, I didn't. Here's the thing. Okay, now I won the fight, but no, I
Right.
didn't. Here's the thing, and then that thing killed me, and then it was like, okay, I'm gonna have to actually get stronger to beat this dude, so I can't just go back and try it. I think I tried it twice and I couldn't get through it, and I was like,
Right.
all right, I guess I have to go do other stuff. And grinding in that game, you don't have to grind in Arceus like ever,
Hmm.
but if you do, like in my situation at the end, it does not feel great because it's like catching things and killing things, and it's not the end of the world. You can go to like right off the mountain and kill the level 60 dudes and get good experience. I guess it's just because you didn't ever have to grind in that game. It feels bad to like have to at any point now because
Sure.
you're like not used to you're used to not having to do it. But it wasn't that bad. I maybe spent like 15 minutes, I don't know, killing Voltorbs or something.
Nice.
I think I brought a ground type and I was just like, walk up to ground type, go Golem, and it was like Voltorb used anything, it did nothing, and I was like, hit it with a rock, I guess, and it would like kill it. Like,
Nice.
so it wasn't too bad.
That's cool.
Oh, and use those codes. Use that. Thanks for your help because it's 5 rare candies, and it can
Yeah.
literally pick your whole team up like as a group 1 level or something.
Hell yeah.
Or you can just pick one thing that's really good and just power the shit out of it, I guess.
Well, there's one. The other code gate is like 30 of each ball type. I think
Yeah.
that
Yep.
was
30 of
hot
each of
shit.
them.
Hot
Hmm.
shit. So yeah,
Oh yeah,
I gotta go pull this
absolutely.
out of my inventory and get to work.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, like overall, I mean, I could go on about Arceus' great experience, but anyway, um, the Faith trilogy, if I'm not mistaken, is on Steam.
Okay.
I will look real quick. I want to say it's completely free. I so Faith One was free on Itch. Faith Two was one where it was like it wasn't free, but you could pay any price. I think I paid $5 because I felt bad. The low price was like $1, and
Mm,
I liked his first game, and I thought that I'd like the second, so I bought it for like 5 instead of 1 because I was that guy, I guess.
not wrong with that.
Um, and then the demo for 3 was free, so I think the only thing you actually pay for is like 2. But I'm pretty sure when he put it on Steam, he just made it all free because 2 was basically free.
Mm,
Um, yeah, so you have it if you go on
uneven.
if you go on
What's
Steam.
the gameplay length like?
Oh, it's not bad. Faith One is like you could beat it within an hour,
Okay.
and Faith Two is probably an hour or two. And then the Faith 3 demo is probably like an hour.
Cool.
It's nothing. You could literally probably sit down in one stream and knock all of it out and not feel bad about it.
That's cool.
Depending on how like long you were willing to stream it or something. It probably, I mean, we'd probably split it into two if you did it, because otherwise a 9 o'clock stream is like until 1 in the morning, and unless we're gonna do it on like a non-work day or something, that could be a problem.
Yeah, or just like do one at a time, one a week or something like that. That almost
Yeah, for sure.
Peak YouTube content too.
I would go grab it off of Steam. You just look up Faith, the Unholy Trinity, and it just says download Faith demo, and it's like all of 1, all of 2, and the demo for 3, if I'm not mistaken, are all included.
Cool.
But it's awesome. Like the games are built with what do you call it? It's I can't even. It's like an Atari system almost, dude. It's wild. It's such an old school graphic system, and the sound and everything is very, very old school, and you'll appreciate it. And even with like the oldest tech on the planet and the oldest like style and aesthetic on the planet, it'll still scare the shit out of you. They do such a good job with it. Oh man, it's great.
That's awesome.
Yeah, definitely. So I'll tell you what, I'll finish Chrono Trigger when you play that. No.
Yeah, right. Oh man.
We're gonna have like Twitter wars.
Hell
day
yeah,
1 of dude refusing to play Faith on his stream, and you're like replying to me, like retweeting like day 7 that Daisuke didn't finish Chrono Trigger.
Oh man. All right, well, that is pretty much going to wrap it up for the show. Again, for the social media stuff, I am Game Dude Retro at Twitter and Instagram, and Retro Game Dude on Twitch and TikTok. And of course, you can find me on YouTube as well as the replays of this podcast. Schedule wise, of course, we're going to be doing the SuperScope podcast on Sundays, Destiny Tuesdays, and I think we're going to do another Wednesday Destiny stream this week, and Jackbox, of course, Saturday nights. And always keep an eye out for surprise streams. There might be one this week. We don't know. So, might be a retro game on the horizon. We don't know. You gotta keep posted. So, all right. Well, that's all I have for this week. Daisuke, if you have anything else?
I think that's everything I got on my end. I would say I might stream once or twice this week because I'm on warning for Chrono Trigger.
Do it.
But I just turned in my big things for school for week 9 and out of 10 weeks, and week 10 is just like that cakewalk, like, okay, say goodbye to your class or whatever kind of thing.
Sure.
So I shouldn't be too busy this week, and then I have a week off for spring break before March 21st is when I start school again. So I'll have this week and next week will be light, and I might be able to get some actual multiple streams a week. God forbid.
Ooh. My nipples just got hard.
Yeah. So what I'll probably do is I'll probably do that. My streaming, not whatever you were saying. I'm not doing that. And I'll have to send you pictures and videos later. I redid, well, we should mostly redid the whole space so that it's all reset and organized now.
Nice.
Which is why my background looks so different.
That's cool.
I'm in the other corner. Everything else is changed and laid out differently so she can do her Phoenix Aurora design stuff. So she can do her sewing, clothes,
awesome,
like logos, all that fun stuff that she does. So you'll see some stuff from her coming up too. And
do I smell a sponsorship coming to the SuperScope podcast?
Well, I was gonna say, when she starts getting stuff made, I'll probably just start doing giveaways with the product because we have tons of fabrics and shirts and all kinds of cool stuff.
Mm-hmm.
She just doesn't have time to make that stuff. But when we get time to make that stuff,
yeah,
it'll be fair game.
When I was still on Facebook, I saw a lot of her stuff. It's really cool.
Yeah, she's got Facebook and Instagram. Oh yeah, you saw on Instagram too. She said, Claire just said, she posted a pair of shorts she made for Phoenix, which was really cool.
Nice.
But I'll sit down one day and show you. What happens is once in a while they put out fabrics from like websites where it's like Final Fantasy fabric, Kingdom Hearts fabric, this, that, and the other video game fabric, and she just grabs it. That's and then we can make stuff out of it.
Very cool.
So I'd like to start doing giveaways on stream or doing charity streams or doing cool stuff on my end, and probably back it up with Phoenix Aurora Designs products because it's in-house and we can do it.
Hell yeah.
And I'll see if we can maybe make you like a hat that says like Super Scoop or something, and we'll purposely misspell it and send it to you. That way you have to wear it.
Sounds good, man. All right. I do appreciate everyone for tuning in this week. And of course, we'll be back next week with more gaming news and reviews. Until then, we'll see you then. Thanks, guys.